Okay, you guys can probably hear me. That's super dope. So, continuing to improve, full time family. Let's go. Let's see what the let's go on. How do you try out for co-host? I don't know, man. And a co-host, it'd have to be somebody that really just wanted. I don't even know what. That's why co-host. I don't know if that's what I'm looking for right now. In the future, I would like to have a permanent co-host, but right now, I just, you know what I'm saying. I don't know if a permanent coach would be a good idea because I couldn't pay anybody anything. So it would pretty much just be somebody coming on and talking, you know. So I mean, we could just do that anyway. So I don't know. In the future, I'll for sure have a permanent co-host, but you know, as far as every single day, every single time, I don't know who it's gonna be. You'll probably see a lot of familiar faces though, for sure. But yeah, so that's super dope though. So now later on, when more people roll in here, we get the panel going. We will have more voices on today even. So with that being said, Gary Kendrick Jr. said he's not going to be on right now, but whenever anybody is ready, you can hop in here and I'll send you a link if you're somebody that wants to talk about some of the shit we're going to be talking about now. But with that being said, until everyone's in here that is interested in joining the stream, let's get to talking about some MMA. There's a whole lot to talk about, and I'm sure this stream, if we get multiple people on here, is going to end up going for a few hours. If not, if it's just me talking, maybe an hour, hour and a half. Who knows? Um, Michigan Made said, "I want to be on." Yep. All right. Well, yeah. Anybody can hop in. I'll send you guys out a link pretty soon. Let me minimize this over here real quick so I can see what the chat's saying. There we go. Alright, Michigan Made in the building. What program do you use for your vids? I use YouTube, bro. No, and Open Broadcaster software, I think, OBS. Wrath of a Raider said, how do you try out for co-host? Oh, yeah, I don't know about tryouts. Somebody tried out one time, but yeah, I don't know, but that's really what I'm looking for. Anyway, Alex said, Connor's buddy probably passed near your house. Gator. Yo, that's what it was. That's fucking hilarious. That was my Gator going crazy. He said, Connor's buddy. Yeah, your full time that intro was like a Twitch level opening. I know, but the fucking song, I didn't want the song to play. I need to just get that intro on like a different song because I don't want to get copy struck. You know what I'm saying? I don't know whose song that is. I was just trying to put the video on, but yeah, in the future, I look to have like an intro like that and maybe even a custom one. But yeah, so a lot of stuff coming up. Gary Kendrick Jr. in the building, Given Surname in the building. He said, it stopped. Given Surname, how are you doing? Full time, did you see Darren Till's interview where he talked about his daughter? No, I just listened to the Woodley interview and the Darren Till one I was going to listen to next, but it was about time to start the stream. But I have not heard that one yet. If it's the one he just recently did, no, I haven't. But this is a topic I kind of want to talk about when we get more people on the show. I mean, I kind of feel like Demetrius Johnson, and as far as how the situation is going to play out, I don't think Demetrius Johnson is going to get an immediate rematch, but of course he deserves one. But it's not even necessarily that he's going to get shit on in this situation because he's injured. I mean, he's got a messed up LCL, and after the fight, he said himself, I'm not entertaining an immediate rematch as far as anytime soon. I want to make sure I'm 100% healthy before I come in and fight again to win my belt back. I'm not going to rush my return and come into this fight not 100%, and you know, because he wants to win his belt back. So he's going to be out for a little while. So of course he does deserve an immediate rematch if anyone does in UFC history. But with that being, I mean, you know, as far as he had the most title defenses in UFC history, and he lost a close split decision, so of course he deserves an immediate rematch. But this is the champ era as well, and that's one thing why I could see some people saying they don't want to see him get an immediate rematch. Because if DJ wins the belt back, we go back to the same old flyweight division. Now shit just got shaken up a little bit with Henry Cejudo becoming the new flyweight champion. But if Demetrius comes back, fights for an immediate trilogy fight, and wins the belt back, we're not going to get to see the champion versus champion super fight against TJ Dillashaw. Henry Cejudo literally already called out for that fight after the win. I want the winner of Cody and TJ. And TJ, he accepted the fight on the mic afterward. Now it seems like he might be a little reluctant, which is something we're going to talk about, a little interesting. I believe TJ Dillashaw just said something along the lines of Henry Cejudo might not deserve the title shot. It's like, whoa, ho, ho, ho. Whoa, ho, ho, ho. That's gonna be interesting if TJ Dillashaw is like, nah, I'm not interested in letting Cejudo come up for my title. If he doesn't want to fight Cejudo, but he did want to fight DJ, that would be very interesting. So we'll see. Keep our eye on that situation. But yeah, as far as Demetrius Johnson getting an immediate rematch, I definitely think that he deserves one. But also, there's really no rhyme or reason as to who gets an immediate rematch in the UFC these days. You know, we've seen guys get knocked out in the first round and they're told they don't get an immediate rematch, but we also saw TJ Dillashaw lose a close decision, still not get an immediate rematch. Now, on the other hand, we saw Cody Garbrandt get knocked out in the second round. Joanna Jędrzejczyk, she got knocked out in the first round, and they got rematches after their losses. So there's not really okay, if you get knocked out, you don't get your title shot. There's not really a method for who gets title shots. But regardless of rhyme or reason or a specific method, I think we would all agree if anyone deserves the rematch, it would be Demetrius. So we'll see what happens. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. Do you think Demetrius Johnson should get the immediate rematch? I'm sure we'll talk about this a little bit later, so we'll move on. But let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? Do you think DJ should get the immediate rematch? But also keep in mind, he's not 100% healthy. So if he's going to be out for a while, I think TJ Dillashaw also said he might want to take some time off. So if TJ's going to be taking some time off, maybe who knows where Demetrius Johnson's health will be whenever he's ready to come back, you know? So we'll see what happens. But I honestly think Cejudo versus Dillashaw would be a good fight. It's going to be fun, shake things up, champion versus champion down at the lower weight class. So I think I would like to see Cejudo Dillashaw, especially while Demetrius heals up. For Western Civilization says, TJ has a contender in his division right now. Yeah, there's Marlon Moraes. Who else? Dominic Cruz, Marlon Moraes. And TJ had something to say to Dominic Cruz. Not going to lie, I'm a big fan of Dominic Cruz, but I still liked what TJ had to say. He said, Dominic Cruz made me fight. He made me chase contender after contender. Get to work. So he's not giving Dominic Cruz an immediate rematch. He told Dominic Cruz to get to work if you're trying to get a title shot. Now, with that being said, he might have said the same thing to Cody. But I think TJ Dillashaw will talk with his team in the UFC, and whatever's going to be the biggest opportunity for him, I could see him taking that fight. Oh, I don't have this on the screen. I'm tripping, y'all. I got something that y'all should be seeing this as well. Where's full screen? Boom, round timer. Hold on, guys. There it is. There it is. That's what we're talking about. This is the article on MMA Fighting. With Demetrius Johnson's win streak over, it's time to appreciate him with an immediate rematch. And so that's why we've been talking about this rematch a little bit. I agree. I think everyone would. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. We could be looking at Cejudo Dillashaw. But let me see if I can find TJ Dillashaw. Yeah, we'll continue to talk about Demetrius and TJ and Cejudo for a little bit because I want to get to TJ Dillashaw after the fight, saying that Cejudo might not deserve to come up and fight for the belt, which would be really interesting. And by the way, if you're listening, make sure you hit that thumbs up button before you forget. Helps the stream out. Who knows, maybe it'll get us in a higher ranked algorithm and put us on somebody's front page. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Would appreciate it. And I'll be sending out the links. So if you want a link, let me know. Because now that we got the stream set up the right way, I don't know if we should just send out links to the trolls. You know, it might disrupt the show if some troll just comes in fucking trolling, making fart noises or something stupid. We got to mute him or block him or whatever we got to do. But it might just disrupt the flow of the stream. So I don't know if we should continue doing that. Maybe we should until that happens. Who knows? But yeah, normally I just throw the invite out there. So let me get the link for those who might need it. Let's see. Copy link to share. Link copy to clipboard. Alright, there we go. Family. Let's see. Smash that like button. People said Gary Kendrick Jr. in the building. We got 4 thumbs down. That's 4 baby back bagel biting bitch boys in the building. Israel A said hit that your dong button. What's going on, family? So yeah, I got so much to say on this stream. Just know I'm listening, family. I can't jump in this second. Alright, yeah. Alright, well, I finished my thought. We'll get to the point to where TJ Dillashaw is talking about Cejudo, and then I'll throw out the links. Alright, 1 second. Alright, so with that being said, Daniel Cormier, we'll get to him afterward as well. Move that over. Demetrius Johnson, this is the injuries. He opened up on his injuries. He says, I think I probably tore my right LCL, and then my right foot might be broken. He said losing, and he's fine with losing. He's more upset about his injuries, but he says losing happens. Every great champion loses. I've lost before when I fought Dominic Cruz. I lose in the gym, so I'm fine. I'm more upset about the injuries. Other than that, I'm okay. So those injuries, especially the torn LCL, you would think that might open up a timeline for Dillashaw versus Cejudo to happen. Like if they're both healthy by the end of the year or something, we could be looking at Cejudo Dillashaw while Demetrius Johnson heals up. And when Demetrius does heal up, he'll still get a immediate rematch. It just won't be necessarily Cejudo's next fight. But DJ will still likely be the next guy to fight at flyweight for a title. But keep in mind, we got Jussier Formiga and Sergio Pettis, who are two top 5 ranked contenders fighting at UFC 229, and they're going to be looking for a title shot, I'm sure, with the win there as well. So we'll see what happens. A lot of things can play out. Cejudo's the new champion. Will he be looking to defend his title? We know he wants another title shot at a higher weight class. But if Dillashaw, if the UFC can't get the deal done with Dillashaw, or if Dillashaw, for whatever reason, isn't open to the fight, maybe Cejudo will be fighting, the winner of Formiga versus Pettis if DJ's injured. So who knows what happens? But I do think DJ will get whenever he's healthy, he'll get a shot at the title. With that being said, TJ Dillashaw and Dana White are responding to Henry Cejudo's champion versus champion call-out. We'll talk about that before we talk about Cody and TJ. But yeah, this is what TJ had to say shortly after. He says, I really don't think the guy would deserve it, Dillashaw said of Cejudo's call for the bantamweight title. He said, shoot, man, why don't we bring in Brock Lesnar? He said, Joseph Benavidez just beat him. Yeah, Benavidez lost a split decision to Sergio Pettis, but I didn't agree with that loss. So I think there's a lot of stuff there. I think he possibly got a trilogy with Demetrius Johnson. I'm open to whatever, though. I'm not stepping away from a challenge, that's for sure. So that's a little interesting right there. Specifically this fucking paragraph. It's like, whoa, TJ. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he only wanted to fight Demetrius Johnson because he was pound for pound number 1, and he was like, hey, I want to be pound for pound number 1. But now that Cejudo's the champion, TJ's pulling back a little bit. Like, maybe Cejudo doesn't deserve it. Do you guys think that TJ Dillashaw just doesn't see Cejudo as big of a fight? Or should he still be willing to fight in this champion versus champion fight? Cejudo's probably a little bigger than Demetrius, you know what I'm saying? Especially if he was cutting down to 135. I don't know. This is an interesting situation if TJ Dillashaw continues this narrative of Henry Cejudo doesn't deserve this champion versus champion super fight. It's a super fight. It's champ versus champ. Let's get it in. Now, with that being said, he also brought up, he said Joseph Benavidez beat Cejudo. Now, I have to call that out because right after that, he talked about Benavidez losing a split decision to Pettis. But he says he didn't agree with that loss. Well, a lot of people don't agree that Benavidez beat Cejudo. So to come out and say that one of the reasons Cejudo doesn't deserve a bantamweight title shot is because he lost to Benavidez, if you're saying that about Cejudo, it's like, that was an arguable win, just like you're saying the Pettis one was. So I don't necessarily agree with TJ there, because I'm one of the people that feel like if you watch the fight, maybe you can tell me if you disagree, but I thought Cejudo beat Benavidez. I thought it was 1-1 going in the 3rd round, and I thought Cejudo did enough to win the 3rd round. But, of course, he didn't get his hand raised, but it was questionable. Pettis, I didn't think that was very controversial in the Benavidez fight. He got his hand raised. He looked good. So, both of them have had split wins. So, that's just interesting. I didn't expect that to be brought up by TJ Dillashaw. So, we'll see what happens. Cejudo called out for the title shot, but now it looks like TJ Dillashaw is going to consider his options, So, I didn't expect that. I think when Joe Rogan asked him on the mic after the fight, he was like, hey, I'm into it. And he said he's not ducking a challenge. So, if that's the fight the UFC wants, if that's the fight that the fans want, I don't think TJ would duck it because he said he wouldn't, but he's still pulling back a little bit now from the new flyweight champion, which is interesting. Given Surname says he'll be apologizing or clarifying that within the next 12 hours, I'm guessing. Zaid Abdallah says, TJ, no one deserves a title shot, Dillashaw. Infamous says, just saw Darren Till interview, that was cold. Yeah, man, I would pull it up. I don't want to get copy strike, especially on this channel. We just got one recently on the second channel. We were trying to watch the press conference, so I can't really afford to get a copyright strike. But I'll definitely check it out after the stream, or someone can tell me about it on the stream. Dude said he had a daughter in Brazil that he hadn't seen in a long time, and he does not care. Oh, I've heard him say stuff like that in the past, though, not specifically in this interview. He said that before, though. He said, like, all these other guys care about their family more than fighting. I care about fighting. I'm trying to be the champion. Like, I'm not thinking about my family at home. I'm not thinking about nothing. I'm thinking about becoming the champion. So he said something along those lines in the past. I know, yeah, some people, yeah, that's a little far. Like, that's your damn kid. You know what I'm saying? I see what, where you're coming from. Given Sure Name says, but go see your damn kid, man. Yeah, at least Skype, And speaking of see your kid, remember whenever he missed weight, it had something to do with one of his family members being in the hospital. You think if he's that fucking cold-hearted, he don't even want to see his kid, what family member would stop him from cutting weight? Like, who was it? I thought they said it might have been his baby's mother, if I'm not mistaken. It's like, so I don't know about that. It's a little interesting. But yeah, that's definitely controversial, and we'll probably be hearing a lot more about that. Maybe I can find a headline on that or something, or an article. Let me pull up. Darren Till talks about daughter? Question mark? Yeah, there's not like a specific article about it, so I'm not going to dig too deep into it right now. We'll probably do something on it a little bit later, though, for sure. So yeah, man, it looks like TJ Dillashaw's pulling back a little bit from the Cejudo call-out, which that threw me off. I was like, okay, let's get it. You know what I'm saying? Demetrius is hurt, or of course, I'm definitely down to see DJ versus Cejudo 3. He definitely deserves it. It was a great fight. First fight was a great fight. It's got nothing to do with the entertainment at all. I'm just saying, if we're ever going to see a flyweight champion go up and challenge for the bantamweight title, it's probably going to be now, while we have a new flyweight champion for the time being. We don't know how long Henry Cejudo is going to remain the flyweight champion. We don't know if he's going to beat Demetrius Johnson in a rematch. But right now, he's the champion. Demetrius is hurt. If we want to see that champ versus champ at 125, 135, Cejudo is down. He's DTF. And Dillashaw seems to be pulling back a little bit. So that's interesting. We'll see what happens with that. We definitely got my eye on that situation because I thought this was a fight that could very well be happening. I know as much as we would like to see Cejudo versus Johnson 3, I know Cejudo versus Dillashaw would also be a very intriguing matchup. So I'm looking forward to that if it happens. But with that being said, Cody Garbrandt was talking after the fight, still rubbing it in a little bit, just speaking his mind. He said Cody Garbrandt plays a dangerous game, and he doesn't really believe that he has a chin. That was amongst some of the things he said at the post-fight press conference. He said, we were planning on throwing him a right hand. Every time he throws a right hand, he drops his left. He's looking to throw a left hook. He's fast. He throws a big right hand, left hand, but he drops it to his pocket. So we were planning on timing it. TJ Dillashaw's training camp, I'm telling you right now, they are some smart motherfuckers. They probably one of the most underrated camps out there right now, man. I mean, I believe that's where Alex Hernandez is training out of now. They got scientific, they're training with science and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, to the T, on top of just having very bright coaches. It's their training camp is going to produce some serious fighters. And we see that TJ Dillashaw, he's looking like the best he's ever looked. And this is his second time being the champion. He's the oldest he's ever been, but he's the best he's ever been, it seems like. TJ Dillashaw seems like he's in his prime right now, second time being the champion. Best bantamweight in the world for sure right now today. And it's arguable he's making his case for being the best bantamweight of all time. I know right now Dominic Cruz gets the nod, but TJ Dillashaw is making his case with those 2 KOs over Cody Garbrandt. And who knows what would happen in a rematch today with Dillashaw and Cruz. Because I feel like Dillashaw is in his prime, and we don't necessarily know that about Cruz at this point. I think it's fair to say he's not in his prime. Prime Cruz, he was the champion, dominant champion, but now he's just dealing with so many injuries. It's kind of hard to imagine him being in his prime today. So, I mean, even if Dillashaw beat Cruz today, you would still have to argue, is this Dillashaw better than Prime Cruz? You know what I'm saying? So, but either way, TJ Dillashaw, he's making his case for being one of the greatest bantamweights of all time with his second win over Cody Garbrandt. Potentially interested in a champion versus champion fight sometime soon, although he had a little pullback. But yeah, so as far as Cody Garbrandt goes, he continued to say, I wasn't going to let off. There's no way. I'm too mean. I'm going to go until I win. I didn't have a problem giving him a little extra, too. The knee was pretty hard knee. I felt that one finished him off. Yo, DJ Dillashaw, the fucking Viper coming out. Holy smokes. He said, and we know TJ Dillashaw ain't got a problem hitting you with extra time. It don't matter if you're his teammate in the practice room and the bell sounded way back when we started the stream. You still might have one coming from TJ. So you think he's not going to give you one in the fight? Oh, he had no problem delivering that knee. He probably smiled as he sent that knee up the motherfucking cut right to Cody Garbrandt's, you know what I'm saying, face. He was loving that shit. TJ Dillashaw, you think he wasn't? Dillashaw, the Viper? I gotta read that again. He said, I wasn't gonna let off. There's no way. I'm too mean. I'm gonna go until I win. I didn't have a problem giving him a little extra, too. That knee was a pretty hard knee. I felt that one and finished him off. He said, I'm in too good of shape to let up the throttle. He's not going to be able to recover. I'm going to be able to push the pace always. It wasn't anything in sparring. Cody was coming into the team. I was leaving, so we really didn't get to work out as much as he has been in the media. It was more when I hit him in the first fight with my foot, I dropped him with that left kick. I didn't feel like that left kick had anything on it, but it affected him. So that's why he kind of felt like, his chin wasn't necessarily there, because he didn't feel like there was a lot on that left kick and it still dropped him. So that's something that he knew that not all of us might not necessarily have been privy to. Like, TJ's coming into this fight confident as fuck, like, oh shit, I didn't even hit him with my best kick and I dropped him. This motherfucker might not necessarily have the chin that everybody might think he has. So, and yo, that's not even too far to question if you think about the video that surfaced a while back, right? Cody Garbrandt and amateurs. I mean, whenever people were talking about TJ Dillashaw getting knocked out in sparring by Cody Garbrandt, there was also the video that surfaced of like Cody Garbrandt getting KO'd in amateurs. And so it's like, maybe, that was a pretty nasty KO too in the amateur fight. In sparring it was one thing. I think TJ was right back up. And so that's something, if you got that on top of knowing you didn't throw your best kick and you dropped it, TJ, you could imagine, came into this fight pretty fucking confident that he could get the job done. Maybe that's why he was willing to kind of take the rematch. Like, hey, I could probably win this rematch. Like, I know he probably don't deserve it. I don't like Team Alpha Male. I would love to rub it in their face, but I got a good shot at beating this motherfucker again. So, that might be why he was kind of willing to take that rematch, because TJ came out looking great. And so, bantamweight champion, possibly looking at a big fight next. So, Dana White says well, let's see, is there something else we skipped, though? I think there was something we were going to talk about. No, okay, yeah, let's see what Dana White had to say. Conor McGregor won't be punished for his bus incident. He's been out for 2 years. And I'm going to be giving out the link soon, guys. I know y'all are about ready. I'm about ready to test out the new mode. Can't wait to see how this works. Hopefully it works. Only problem that might come up is whenever we do this, hopefully everybody can hear. I hope there's not any audio issues with the Google Hangout. If there is, that's going to suck, and we'll just have to go back to the old format until I can figure that out. But if this works, we're in the game. But with that being said, pretty much Dana White is saying, though, he's already been out for 2 years. He's having to pay fines already. I mean, what do I do? Suspend him for more time? He's already been out for 2 years. I mean, and he's having to pay from the court. But this is Dana White's words. I've been telling you guys forever that we had to wait until Conor McGregor's court stuff was handled in New York. It got done, obviously. It was very favorable for Conor. Time to roll. Khabib Nurmagomedov wants this fight. Conor wants this fight, and the fans definitely want this fight. As soon as this thing was over in New York, he wanted the fight and said, let's do this. Let's make this as soon as possible. I want to fight this guy. Suspended. He hasn't fought in 2 years. How much longer should we suspend him? He obviously has lots of money, millions of dollars. And what went down in New York, what more could we do to him? He went in front of, he went through a legal process and got what he got. That's it. So I think Conor's getting let off a little easy there by Dana. And I only say that because Dana White, if you recall, after the Dolly incident, said this was like the worst incident in like UFC history, right? Like it was really, and maybe it was a little overblown a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Dana is a great promoter. I wouldn't be surprised. But at the same time, if this is, and it did get 3 or 4 fights canceled, which did piss some fans off, it's, just being fined by the courts, which was going to happen anyway, people feel like that's already a slap on the wrist. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because Conor McGregor has money or whatever, he just has to pay some money and do some community service. So he didn't, what did he have? Maybe a few hours in jail? So, I mean, for that to be his only punishment, people already felt like that was a slap on the wrist. And then if you also, that means there's not really any sanctions coming from the UFC. The UFC didn't ever suspend Conor. They didn't, fine. Nothing really came from the UFC to punish Conor. And, I mean, of course, you can imagine why. This is one of the biggest fights in UFC history. You think the UFC wants to miss out on millions of dollars so they can teach Conor a lesson? That's probably not going to work like that. You know what I'm saying? It's not that simple. You can't just, all right, Conor, you can't fight until 2019. Like, you're doing that to yourself. You're telling yourself you can't have a Conor fight until 2019. So keeping Conor McGregor away from the sport would really be hurting yourself as a promoter. So, I mean, I don't really see that happening. So what do you really do? You know what I'm saying? I mean, and he did, the legal people there, he had his legal situation, his legal process, so it is what it is. I mean, but yeah, Dana White, he spoke on it, but not really a lot surprising out of it. You know what I'm saying? I know there's still people that feel like Conor McGregor wasn't punished because he's got money or because he's worth a lot of money or whatever. And the UFC, they felt like maybe the UFC should have done something as well. But it is what it is. Conor McGregor's money. And with Conor McGregor, we've known for a while, he kind of has, special privilege if anybody does. Conor McGregor's got reason. He's the biggest star of the sport, and especially with the numbers that we've been seeing lately on stacked cards, it looks like it's Conor McGregor or bust. So the UFC's, I don't know if Conor's got the UFC by the balls necessarily, but he's definitely got a lot of leeway. You know what I'm saying? But DC is something he talked about. I think it's about time to bring on the Full-Time Family. I talked about this a little earlier, so I'm about to send out the link. What's going on, Full-Time Family? Hopefully this works. Here's the link. Let's check it out. Hopefully this works. Let's pull it up. Let's go to the new setup. Boom. Pull this up. X that out. Now let's see if somebody joins. They will join. Right now it is just us in the building. There's the link in the chat. I'll send it out again for anybody that wants to join. And I probably won't be sending the links out this way too much longer. There we go. Someone's in here. Hopefully we can hear them. If we can hear them and if you guys can hear them, we will be in the game. I hear somebody. Who am I speaking with? Let's pull up the Google Hangout. Is that Infamous? That's Infamous. What's going on? Now let's see if the chat can hear Infamous. Chat, if you can hear Infamous, we are in the game. Let me know right now. I'm pulling it up. We got Hassan Masweer in the building. Says Conor is a name you can bank on. They either go to bat for him or he walks. Yeah, man, he's definitely, Driving Dog, he says that weird guy can't join at the moment. Yeah, we good. Given Surname says we good. I can hear him. All right, we're good, Infamous. We're in the building. Holy smokes, we are here. We got the Full-Time Family with the bells and the whistles. Who'd have thunk it? What's going on?
What's going on, man?
Not too much, man.
All of us clowns picked Cejudo to
win. I know, it's funny. Given your name is here too, man. I remember that comment he typed was funny.
Hilarious.
He said, "Man, all of you guys picking against DJ is making me root for him," and it just so happened that was pretty funny. 22 game. I know he was the only. I think he was the lone member on the panel. Clowns, I tell you, you just give it your name. Oh, super trash.
Honestly, that fight could have gone either way. Like even when I saw it, I'm like, yeah, DJ could have won that fight.
What's up, fam?
If I'm being
What's
honest.
going on, family? Full-Time panel in full effect. What's going on? That's Gary.
Oh, what's up,
Yeah, that's me.
What's up? Not too much.
Hey, check this out, y'all. I got some little business to take care of. I'm still be busy for like another 30 minutes.
Yo, where is that Mighty Mouse fanboy that was talking so much shit?
You talk about 22 game, man. Nah, he wasn't a fanboy. He was just putting some respect on his name, I think. But yeah, he seemed a little upset that we were picking against Mighty Mouse.
Like, doesn't mean that this was.
Yeah,
whatever.
that's like I said. I had a legit argument. I wasn't just saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, fuck
We
Demetrius, I don't
literally,
like him. I want him to lose." It was
Hey, y'all.
Cejudo's the
Hey,
best
y'all.
flyweight in the world, not named DJ. What up, Gary?
Hey, remember I said he was gonna out muscle him and push him around
Yep.
yeah, man.
when I was giving my predictions.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man.
That's what happened.
It was
Hey, but
crazy.
I
He
gotta take
he
care of
really
some
won it in
business
that
with my
fifth
family.
round, though. It was a close fight. All right, Gary.
I'll be back in like 30 minutes.
All right, sounds
All right,
good.
All right, y'all.
All right, so Infamous, what are your thoughts on the immediate rematch situation with Demetrius Johnson? Do you think he should get one, or do you think the UFC should look at making Cejudo versus Dillashaw?
I think Demetrius injured, so I don't think he could take an immediate rematch.
Yeah,
And if Dillashaw can't fight,
but yeah, if Dillashaw's not coming back for a while, I think he might be
I
looking to
think
take a little bit of a vacation. So
I think
if
Cejudo should fight Benavidez.
Benavidez, yeah, that'd be a fun
Yeah.
one. You also got Pettis versus Formiga coming up at UFC 229. You know, I'm sure that's going to be pretty close to a title eliminator. I mean, Benavidez is always up there, but he just lost to Pettis in this close split decision.
Yeah, I know
So
he lost to Pettis, but like before that, he was on a crazy streak, and he's not the first person to get a title shot off a loss.
yeah,
I
he
feel
was.
like
I think he
had
was
that-
out for 2 years before that. Was it a suspension or an injury?
It was an injury, but
Okay.
he beat like basically everybody else in the weight class.
Yeah, and the Cejudo fight, he got his hand raised, but you know what I'm saying. It was
Yeah,
a
I
little.
didn't think he won that fight.
I didn't either, but I mean the Pettis
think,
fight, just because Pettis beat him recently, I think, and also Formiga, he's been making his case as well. I think the Formiga versus Pettis fight is likely a number one contender fight. But yeah, I mean Benavidez is always up there with his resume in the flyweight division for sure.
Man, but I think something we could all agree with is what's going on with Cody, man. I mean, he looked worse this fight than he did last fight.
I mean, honestly, when you think about it, like TJ said, he kind of felt like, you know, Cody before the fight, coming into the fight, he felt like Cody didn't have a chin anymore because he said when he kicked him in the first fight, he didn't have a lot on it and it dropped him. And so on top of that, Cody had to come into this fight mentally different from the part of, you know, people aren't buying the trash talk anymore. People don't care about all the accusations they were levying on TJ before the first fight. You know, whenever they were calling him a cheater and all of this shit. Now he can't really talk that shit. He's kind of coming into this fight almost as if he's humbled. And that was something new as well. So, I mean, didn't really know what to expect out of Cody. But now what's next for Cody? That's another good question.
Oh, what's next? He needs to take a year off, no contact. Because that nasty TKO he just had, man, that was nasty. Took a lot of damage.
Yeah, I see my boy Big J MMA said, full time, how much fake money did you put on Cejudo? I'll show you right here, actually. I got it right here. Let's see if you can see this. I didn't put a whole lot. I think I had 400 or something, but that, I mean, he was a big underdog, man. So, I mean, that's still something. It should pop up right here. Do you see that? I had 700 on Garbrandt, but that, I mean, that's only losing 700. When you put 400 on Henry Cejudo, who's a fucking 4-1 underdog, you probably got back like $1,500 off of that fight alone. So, made a little bit of money.
In the commentary?
Which part?
Where he was like, when like TJ caught him, he was like, he got caught by the same thing again.
No, I did. I don't think so. I might not have.
Funny.
But
DC was like, oh my god.
Did you see? No, DC on the commentary, man. He's fucking top of the line, man. That's one of the things I noticed. And he was back quick after his fight too, right crazy. Back to work.
You literally see Cody missed 3 right hands in a row, and he's still in the pocket, like didn't back out or anything.
And then early in the first round, Cody seemed to have hurt TJ too before, but TJ has a chin. He was able to recover again, similar to the first fight.
I don't think Garbrandt's power is that, you know, that crazy. Like he has, I feel like it's more speed than power, honestly.
Yeah, he was definitely fast as fuck out there. Stem she said, I've been saying motherfucker rematch. Soon as one man gets it, everyone starts campaigning for similar treatment. Wax sauce. If you're talking about Demetrius Johnson, I wonder if you feel differently because of his resume. He's the longest reigning UFC champion on top of losing the split decision. The way he lost, you know, I think the way he lost and who he is why he necessarily deserves it. You know, but yeah. Bikini Doll said, I bet my house on Henry. Well, shit, you got like 3 extra houses right now. Now later says, Yeah, I think she's just doing the single thing for now. Who we talking about? Who you talking about?
Oh, did you see Paige Van Zandt react to the fight? Oh man,
No, I didn't. But I know she
she
was friends with Cody, huh? So yeah.
she was, but then she wrote "and still" TJ Dillashaw and then put a snake emoji. I was
Oh
like, what?
shit.
That was kind of unexpected.
Oh, yeah. You hear about the backstory behind that? You heard
Nah.
Paige left Team Alpha Male, right? And now
hmm
she's training in Oregon, and she's got her new boyfriend. Like his name's like Austin Vanderford. Well,
Yeah.
that dude, he fought on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, and he beat a Team Alpha Male guy. And it's like now they got a rivalry. Like he's beat two Team Alpha
Oh.
Male guys now. So her new boyfriend has been fighting Team Alpha Male guys, and it's like Paige left the camp, and so it's like she might be against Team Alpha Male now. Her boyfriend's now fighting those dudes. He's been beating them, I believe. So I think
That's
Paige
crazy.
ain't rocking with them no more. Yeah. And
Oh
also,
man.
fucking Justin Buchholz just left Team Alpha Male,
Yeah, I
and
think that hurt
before the
Cody
fight,
too. He
T.J.
was a good
Dillashaw,
coach.
he was, and before the fight, T.J. Dillashaw said that they reconnected. So a lot of people are starting to leave Team Alpha Male. It seems interesting.
Honestly, Cody needs to change something, man. He
He-
cannot just
Bro,
go on
remember we were
the
talking
same.
about it on the panel. What if he loses and he moves down to flyweight and goes to train with fucking TJ? What if
Well, he could train with Matt Hume, Demetrius' coach.
Yeah, that would be a good one too, but it would just be a crazy plot twist if
Remember
he
when you
leaves to
said
go to the training
like
lab.
like you picked Cody, but even when you picked him, you were like, this guy is still green. Like you still feel like he's very green. Like even
Yeah.
though he had that one good performance on Dominic, but if you look at the rest of his record, I mean, if you want to pull it up, it's
Yeah.
not impressive, man.
Yeah,
They
he
brought him up.
wasn't fighting the killers. He fought Almeida, then Mizugaki,
Oh
and then got
man,
the title shot. Let's see.
I mean,
Pull it up right
does
here.
not have.
Why is that not on the screen? Pull it back
They
on.
definitely brought him up good. I'll tell you that.
Okay. There it is, full-time family. I'll pull up
Bro,
Cody Garbrandt.
I gotta hop back on, y'all.
What's
What's
up?
up, yeah?
Hey, I remember I told you Paige was fucking Cody.
Yeah, I heard that. No, honestly, I heard that. I'm not. It's a rumor or whatever, but
Hey, no, bro, Google it. She used to fuck with Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah, we
He
know.
left her.
I know that, but I didn't know it ended badly.
yeah, I didn't know it ended
Yeah,
badly. Maybe that's why she left Team Alpha, man. Who knows, man?
yeah,
That's some
because
crazy shit that we all don't know about. You know what I'm saying? This seems like there's definitely
Yeah,
some behind the scenes shit going on with that split,
he
though.
left her for the girl that he's married to.
Oh, he is married now, and they got a baby now too, low key.
Hell
And
yeah,
damn, now she's posting the snake emoji hashtag kill the shot. Like, all right,
yeah, that
motherfucker.
was crazy.
Yo.
He left her for the female he's married to, and she fine as fuck.
And then she left, got the implant. She's really trying to stun on Cody now. Like, all right, motherfucker. This seems like a whole situation playing out. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was trying to leave it in the comments, but I mean, y'all was just talking. But yeah, that's what happened with that.
Okay, damn. Now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. But yeah, so
Cody
here's
was
his
on the
record
record. That's
before
what
Cruz. Damn.
Yeah,
Before the Almeida fight, he only had 3 fights in the UFC. I didn't
dude,
realize
look how
that.
close
But
that Brimage fight was. What?
yeah, it was a KO in the 3rd round, but still, yeah, it was pretty close as far as the striking count. So yeah, man, definitely a little green. Got
I mean,
pushed up a little.
Almeida's. I mean, that's a decent name, but
Yeah, he was the first one to beat Almeida at
Yeah,
that point.
so
But since
I'll give him
then,
credit
Almeida
for that
hasn't
one.
looked amazing. But yeah,
Takea, that was a
but this is
carry.
the thing.
Takea
Yeah,
and Mizrachi was
Almeida at this point was ranked like number 5, and then
Mhm.
Takea was ranked like number 9. So it's like he went down in ranking and then got the title shot. So he definitely got pushed up there in that sense. But he was knocking dudes out, to be fair. So that was the reason we were given. Hey, he's knocking dudes out. The fans want to see it. Boom, Cody's in there. And then what he did to Cruz, that's where he really earned everyone's respect. Because I think
Yeah.
a lot of us picked Dominic Cruz to beat Cody Garbrandt. And then when he was in that fucking breakdance, we were like, what? I'm interested to see these fight metrics on this Dominic Cruz fight. It says Dominic Cruz actually outstruck Cody Garbrandt. And if you just think how the fight played out, it almost felt
Yeah, I
like
thought
Cody
the first 2
Garbrandt.
rounds were close, but
Yeah,
people
but
were
like
so
by
surprised,
the end of the fight, yeah, it almost felt like he outclassed him. So it's
yeah, some
surprising
people
to
just
see
ran
that.
with that.
Yeah, but man, T.J. Dillashaw went crazy last night. Was it last night? Today Sunday? Holy smokes, it was last night. Crazy. T.J.
I feel like
Dillashaw first
TJ
round
kinda
KO.
proved that, like, Cody, he could hurt you, but he's not gonna like knock you out with one punch.
Yeah, you have to follow up.
Like
Well, he's
a guy
knocked
like
some dudes
Lineker,
out. Yeah.
who could take a punch and then he's gonna come back with one.
Yeah, that might be a
Yeah,
tough fight.
that's.
Now that's what. So that's a good question. What do you think is next for Cody? You think he stays at
Pull up
bantamweight?
the rankings for bantamweight. Check
Bet
it out right now.
rankings. But as far as you think he stays at bantamweight, or do you think? I mean, because he's not going to get a title shot anytime soon. You would think.
I don't think he should move down that chin, baby.
Yeah, that would probably be even worse at flyweight. I mean,
Like-
trying to cut weight for the first time fight at flyweight. So Cody Garbrandt, you got Dominic Cruz, the number 2 contender. Would you be interested in the Cruz versus Garbrandt rematch at this point?
I think he needs a get back fight, honestly.
I mean, and Cruz is a winner. It was still a somewhat close fight, and I'm sure Dominic Cruz would like to get that one back. And I don't know if Dominic Cruz is going to get an immediate rematch. TJ said Dominic Cruz get to work. I really think he wants to see Dominic Cruz have to fight a contender like he had to before getting another title shot.
Honestly, if Garbrandt doesn't make like a lot of good changes, he could lose to a lot of these guys like Cruz, Assunção, Moraes, Lineker,
sure.
Dotson.
Rivera's fighting Dotson coming up.
Those are all tough fights for him.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't see him. I probably Rivera.
And this is the thing though too. He's gonna have to fight multiple of these guys as far as Cody is concerned, because
Dotson's not an easy fight.
Even if Cody Garbrandt beats one of these guys, he's not getting the next title
Who
shot.
do you think he has the best chance of beating out of the first 8?
Out of the first 8, I mean, Cody Garbrandt, Cruz for sure in a rematch, just because how he looked in the first fight, and if not Cruz, man, maybe Lineker, and if not Lineker, maybe Rivera. I mean, I don't know.
Aljo, I feel like
yeah, but that's a low fight. I don't think he's trying to go that low in the rankings. But what I was saying though is, even this is the thing. Even if he beats one of these guys in the top 5, he's gonna have to beat another one. Because even if he beats Cruz or Assunção, people aren't going to be dying to see Garbrandt Dillashaw 3 with Dillashaw already winning the first 2 fights. So he's going to be essentially a bantamweight gatekeeper until Cruz is no longer the champion.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Wonder Boy situation, you know, with 2 wins over Wonder Boy, he's probably not getting a title shot anytime soon. So Cody Garbrandt, he's kind of going to have to go through a murderer's row to get back to the belt. And now I think people are going to start to question his chin, probably try to test it more in fights. And so it's going to be a fucking tough road back to the belt for Cody Garbrandt.
Like, why not stand with this guy? He might hurt me, but I might knock him out.
Yeah, I can see John Lineker just, but yeah, so there's a lot of tough fights for him. I mean, there's still a lot of fun fights, though. I'd still like to see Garbrandt versus Rivera, Garbrandt versus Moraes if they get booked, but like I said, even if he wins one of those fights, we got Forward in the building. I see the icon. What's going on, brother? Forward in the building. What's going on?
Everyone say?
The panel of death. What's up?
Man, I have been straight laughing for a good 24 hours.
You're lagging just a little bit.
It's the best MMA channel on the web.
Let's go.
My internet's been a problem for real. It's been a bit of a problem. I'm gonna try and get on. Let's see if it works.
Okay, it was sounding better for a second.
Yeah, no, on the web. I mean, we all predicted that this shit was gonna happen. It actually ended up happening. I mean, I don't know if we already talked about it.
It's always funny, because sometimes is that Dan from Oregon in the building? I believe it might be. There's somebody else to join the panel. Let's see who it is. But it's funny, because a lot of these fighters, like I heard Cejudo after the fight, he was like, all the media doubted me. I was like, you should have been listening to the panel.
We all picked him except one person.
Yeah, everyone but one person.
Except somebody who.
Oh, is that Giving Sure Name in the building?
Yo, what's good, bro?
What's up? Giving Sure Name. What's going down?
I had to come talk to these clowns.
Hell yeah.
What's
going on, man? Giving Sure Name. He was in the chat whenever we were picking Cejudo. I know from the profile picture.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, common misconception.
Yeah. But it is what it is, man. I know you got to come speak up for Demetrius Johnson. You got to get some words in.
Man, let it out.
I can't believe it, but at the same time, I wasn't entirely surprised. But I just thought it was crazy. I mean, I just didn't think DJ was gonna get I didn't think he was gonna let himself get grabbed. Like I thought he was so fast and everything, but he couldn't keep the distance. Or I don't know, man. I don't know. If it wasn't for the wrestling and like the top control, I don't think Cejudo would have won. But he didn't really land any strikes from there. So at first I was kind of pissed that he got the decision. But
how'd you have the fight going into the 5th round? Did you have it 2-2, or did you think Cejudo already had like 3-1? Or
I was either 2-2 or 3-1 for DJ, in my opinion.
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's fair as far because even the rounds, if you had a 2-2, the rounds you had for Cejudo were arguable. Like DJ had a case to each round,
He did.
but if it was 2-2 going into the 5th round, who did you guys have win the 5th round?
I thought Cejudo won the 5th.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was slipping
Yeah,
away in
I
the
agree.
beginning, but at the end of the round, I felt like he finished stronger. But this is
Yeah,
the
no,
thing,
it
though.
was.
This is the thing, though. It was still, even with
Yeah, it
Cejudo
was
winning the
close.
5th fight, it was still close. And usually when you have a coin flip decision or a close decision, it will go to the champion. You know, in order to be the champion, you have to beat the champion.
Yeah,
And
that
so,
was weird.
so that, and so, I mean, you can speculate what that might be. You know, maybe the UFC was trying to get DJ the fuck out of there. No, but still, it was still a close fight, and I felt like the right decision was Cejudo as far as the 5th round is concerned. But if they would have gave it to Demetrius, I would have still not been surprised.
Yeah, I think those leg kicks. I think that's the best debate for whether DJ should have won is how they score those leg kicks. And then, like I was saying last night in the chat, I think that rolling out of those takedowns and like reversing position,
Yeah, it
not
was super
necessarily
impressive.
reversing, but getting up. Like to me, those shouldn't be counted as successful takedowns. But what do y'all think?
Those
Yeah,
rolls were
I don't
cool
think
that he
those. Yeah, whenever he rolled out, I didn't look at those as successful takedowns at all. I was like, that's just some dope ass defense. It looked like something he worked on specifically to get out of that takedown, and he did it multiple times. So I was like, oh shit, look at DJ roll out of these takedowns from
But
Cejudo.
I really think the refs probably score those as takedowns because in like collegiate wrestling or something they would be, and so at the very least they don't know or they're probably not real consistent on whether those would count or not. You know.
Yeah. Jorge 1 in the building. E on 001. What's going on? What up, fam? Said Jorge 1. Not much. Co-host rolling up says Web PK Viz. Hey, what's going on? Got an eye on you. That weird guy says he meant Cody. All right, but yeah, man. So, with that being said, what do you guys think about Cejudo, the potential Cejudo versus Dillashaw matchup? But I mean, we still don't know if the fight's going to come to fruition, especially now that TJ Dillashaw is saying that Cejudo might not deserve it. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on TJ saying Cejudo doesn't deserve the champ versus champ fight? Do you think that's crazy, or do you think he has a point?
I mean,
I
let's
agree
be
with
real.
him.
He doesn't actually deserve it for being real. I mean, I like the whole triple champ kind of thing. I mean, I like the vibe of the guy. He's playing up to he's being almost the opposite of DJ, where he's actually playing up to the fans. He's trying to like promote future fights. He's trying to give that prospect of I'm
Yeah.
gonna go for greatness. Where DJ, there wasn't much hype behind him until he was close to breaking the silver streak. But then all of a sudden that came. All of a sudden people were talking about him being a pound for pound champion, a pound for pound great. As soon as he broke it, everyone's like, oh, what's next? What's going to be the next big thing? Is he going to go up and fight TJ? He was talking about, no, I just want to defend more belts and play
Go to
video games. Like,
Risen.
as fans,
One.
yeah, exactly. I mean, then he was talking a bit about that, and that's a little bit exciting. But for the most part, it's hard to get behind DJ because there wasn't that excitement of the future. There wasn't excitement of what's next. It was just, I'm going to just keep defending my belt. I'm going to go for 20 title defenses. After a while, that shit kind of gets a bit boring. But
Yeah.
Cejudo, I mean, as much as I don't think he deserves it, I like his chances against TJ, to be honest, even if he goes up to fight him, because, again, you look at his wrestling, he's probably the best wrestler below the 145-pound division, if I'm being honest. I mean, you look at his
Yep.
obviously Olympic gold medal, he's strong, he's big I think he's probably a good size bantamweight.
Oh, real
He's a
quick.
so.
Real quick. Speaking of Olympic gold medal, with Henry Cejudo winning, you know who that gave me more hope for? Kayla Harrison. I don't know how. I don't know. I'm just saying. We just had an Olympic gold medalist dethrone Demetrius Johnson. Cyborg, duck your motherfucking taco. All right, you can continue forward. My bad.
Yeah, I see. I mean, she's got to work on her striking if she wants to get to that level.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
hey,
But
so Cejudo
she can
proved
do
I
it.
mean, in 2 years. I mean, we saw how he looked in the first fight. I mean, he improved his entire striking
Exactly.
game. He developed something. So it shows that when you got that drive and that hunger, and you've actually been an Olympic champion, it shows you got something special in you. And also shows that when you got that championship of losing, it can also drive you to then take new heights and actually achieve better things. And that's what Cejudo managed to do. So again, I like his chances against TJ. If I'm being honest, I mean, the striking, he's gonna have to be very careful on the feet. But I mean, if he can ground TJ, I think it's gonna be once he gets TJ to the ground, unlike the Meech, it's gonna be a little bit easier to hold him there. I think he will be able to use a bit more top pressure, maybe actually get us some ground and pound. So I think TJ's got a chance in that. People will probably have him as a massive underdog, but I like his chances.
I agree. I think he has a great chance too. And so this is my thought. TJ Dillashaw was willing to fight Demetrius Johnson. Do you think that's just because he wanted specifically DJ for his legacy? But this is my thing, because it's going to look bad whenever you're TJ Dillashaw and you were willing to fight DJ, and now you're not so willing to fight Cejudo, who, like you just said, might have a better matchup. Who do you think had a better matchup against TJ Dillashaw? Demetrius Johnson or Henry Cejudo?
Cejudo,
100% Cejudo.
So it's going to look like you might be avoiding the harder matchup. And so even though he might not necessarily deserve it, he's the champion. So you could actually argue, hold on, he just beat the pound-for-pound #1. I mean, technically he does deserve it. That's who was going to get the fight. So I kind of see why he doesn't deserve it, because he doesn't have the Demetrius Johnson resume. But if you were already open and entertaining a champ versus champ super fight, and keep in mind, Cejudo's talking about coming up. It's not even a situation where DJ's got to go down anymore. Cejudo's talking about coming up.
Both guys won't be depleted and shit.
I agree. So if TJ doesn't want to fight Cejudo, even though he's coming up, I think the roles are going to kind of get reversed. I could see people looking at that like, whoa, you don't want to fight Cejudo now? Now we're not getting the champ versus champ super fight, and it's got nothing to do with DJ, you know?
Yeah, honestly, I think TJ is one of the most underrated fighters.
I do too, man.
Yeah. Because, so many people were not picking him for the first Garbrandt fight, and I picked him for that fight because I was like, this guy is better than him, but, you know, Garbrandt obviously had the power and speed. Whatever.
I picked him for the first fight, but I fell for the second fight. I thought Garbrandt, even though I saw the videos of him wrestling through the back injury, I was like, but maybe that was like after the surgery. Like, you know, maybe it was like right before. Like,
if you heard Chael Sonnen did an interview where he said, like, sometimes like having an injury actually leads to better performance because it keeps your mind off the fight.
Yeah, and he did perform better in the first fight, so.
And Garbrandt's kind of a guy who fights the same way every time, kind of like a Nate Diaz. So when they have a full camp, they don't really do anything different.
And now hindsight's 20/20, but when you think about it, man, I mean, fight IQ, well-rounded. TJ's got Cody beat on quite a few things. I mean, except for like maybe speed, like, but yeah. So
speed is the only really thing that Garbrandt had over him.
Yeah, and so his chance was knocking him out early. What's going on?
What do you guys think that this says about Team Alpha Male at this point? Anything?
Yeah, it says that all they can do is give a fighter a good wrestling in the right hand.
I mean, but there's still something to be said about going to Team Alpha Male if you need to work on your wrestling, but I don't know if that's where you're necessarily going to just become the best you can be. And we're seeing that definitely with TJ Dillashaw. I mean, you're going to have to deal with like some high school politics they're as like well over there, it seems like.
There's some good athletes and stuff, but I think their game is very like simple, you know what I mean? Like they don't have
I think it gives you a really good base. I think it gives you like what the fundamentals that you need. I think it's gonna help someone like a Sage Northcutt. But if you want to get to that next level, like you want to add more layers.
Then you go to the training lab.
You need to go somewhere where you can extend yourself. Because I think one thing that really stood out to me in this fight was that the first knockdown where TJ knocked him down. When Cody actually rocked him, he was doing good on the feet. He was doing good in his striking.
He stunned him a little bit. I don't think it was that bad.
But
when he stunned him a little bit. The thing that stood out to me was those three. He landed the same right hand 3 times in a row. Cody stayed in that pocket way too much. Now look at it, and that's like just completely terrible fight.
I couldn't believe that he did that.
How downhill do you need to be to stay in the pocket and take 3 right hands for you to get knocked down, and then
it's hard as fuck that weird guy. No, go ahead. My bad. I'll type it.
Oh, I was wondering, but no. I mean, it was just brain dead. Like, I mean, you could think about it. Like, would a McGregor do something like that? Would a Darren Till do something like that? Would a Anderson Silva in his prime do something like that? Like, these fighters have fight IQ, and that's the most important thing in the fight. And like, for me, staying in the pocket, taking those 3 right hands when you didn't need to, it just shows that it's part of the team as well. They're not actually coaching him into him to actually be a better fighter.
And so,
for me, he had the skill set to win.
What we just said plays into Team Alpha Male. They'll get you like, you know, all the skills you need to, but not quite to the championship level, it seems like. And we saw that with TJ. So what it seems like, what it seems like is maybe Chad Mendes as well, but Cody Garbrandt, Chad Mendes, these guys that are right there but need to go to the next level might want to follow TJ to the training lab, and who knows what will happen. Like, wouldn't that be crazy if, like, it was like you're taking everything in work for, motherfucker? Like, if, like, you just seen fighters from Alpha Male just start to go to the training lab. That'd be crazy. But no, Alpha Male's an established team. I still think that's a great place for guys like, Sage Northcutt. He's been doing some training with Team Alpha Male because he's more of a stand-up fighter. So he's going to get his wrestling base under him at Team Alpha Male. It's good for people like that. But yeah, as of right now, man, I think
it just seems like they can't get over the top. Guys like Dillashaw and Cruz obviously have been a big issue for him, and then McGregor for Mendez, and seems like they always lose that big one. But
yeah.
Even TJ, when he was obviously part of Alpha Male, he lose to Cruz when he was part of them, but then when he changed, he's been on like a 6-7 fight winning streak since. So
no, he actually lost when he left the team.
Oh yeah, his first fight, but then even still that was a split decision. So I mean, we've seen how much he's improved since. Because I think I felt like he lost that Cruz fight, like personally. So
I don't think he
changed
lost that fight, but it was
wow. I mean that's debatable in itself. But my point is that you've seen how much he's improved since that Cruz fight, and that's obviously been part of like him leaving the team and actually getting different looks and fighting different fighters and improving as a fighter. So I feel like you need to develop.
Okay, so
he definitely has the best resume at 135.
So with what we've been talking about, you guys think it's safe to say you feel like Cody Garbrandt should probably go train at another team? You think that'd be a good start for him, or do you think he can get it together and he should stick around at Team Alpha Male and just?
He could at least get a new striking coach. He needs something.
Yes.
I see Big J MMA said maybe Cody should go train some at Greg Jackson's or ATT.
Yeah, I mean,
or maybe not even just leave Team Alpha Male. Just split camps sometimes. You don't have to just part ways with Team Alpha Male, but maybe just get another look somewhere else.
Wouldn't that be hilarious? Wouldn't that be hilarious if after all the TJ drama, if he's the one who leaves now?
That would be crazy. I'm sure that thought has to have been crossing his mind.
Yeah, he's like, fuck, now I can't leave. I talked all that shit.
And that's what, something about that is that's what TJ said is like this wasn't even a Cody Garbrandt beef. Like he was coming as I was leaving. This was really a Uriah Faber thing, and Cody just found himself in the middle of it. Like it wasn't even like TJ and Cody really had a big ass grudge against each other specifically. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if, like Justin Buchholz, they reconnected. If let's say they ended up splitting, but yeah, this wasn't really even a TJ Dillashaw Cody Garbrandt beef to start with.
Cody had some crazy ass fans too, man. They thought he could beat everybody, like Conor, like fucking.
Oh hell no!
That's why he got the title fight, bro. You got a crazy ass fan base. That's how you get that title fight.
His fan base is crazy. They think he can knock anybody out in one round. It's crazy.
It's kind of like Conor's fan base, bro.
To be fair, but like you also have to fight IQ to what you gonna do.
That's the whole fight. He literally was speaking what he was believing. Like he literally was talking about, I dropped you in that first round, and he ran with that. He ran with that whole excuse about not having that camp.
Yeah, he even had me a little bit convinced. I expected Dillashaw to win it, like technically, but Garbrandt was starting to have me convinced there a bit.
Freaking Dwayne Lugwood had an interview where he was like, Cody could hurt TJ, but TJ could knock him out, like if they exchange, and they truly believe that.
Did you guys hear? That's to change the subject. Did you guys hear what Dana White said in his interview about Kevin Holland after the fight? I thought that shit was funny as hell.
Yeah, that shit was
that was funny. He said they needed a fight for the people that didn't. He said, so this guy Kevin Holland, he fought on the Contender Series, and he was talking to me through the whole fight. I believe he went on to win a decision, but he was like, we're not signing this kid. He was talking through the whole fight. He's joking. He's like a clown. And so they didn't sign him. But he said Thiago Santos needed an opponent. And they were calling people. He was like, let's get a Contender Series guy. So they were calling people. No one would take the fight with Santos. So he said, all right, call up Big Mouth. Let's see if he'll take the fight. And so he said Kevin Holland took the fight, 2 weeks' notice. Not only did he take the fight, he came in here and was still talking throughout the whole fight. And he said after the fight, the biggest celebrities, the stars that, were at the show and in attendance, this was in LA, so you can imagine there was a lot of big celebrities there. He said everyone was asking him about Kevin Holland. Of all people, they were asking him about that Kevin Holland kid. So that was a pretty funny story.
He was on the bottom of Mount running his mouth.
Yo,
I've never.
Did you hear what he said after the commentators got it cleared there? He was saying, like, yo, you're hitting me hard or something. This isn't really fun or some shit like
that. This sucks, man. You hit really hard.
Yeah, this sucks. You hit really hard. Yo.
That shit's funny, man.
Yeah, he definitely got stock, even though he lost that fight. But he didn't get finished. That was still impressive against Thiago Santos. But he still
Yeah, that was
capitalized on a big opportunity though, and made a lot of fans, maybe even in higher places.
And speaking of Thiago Santos, do you know what he said after the fight?
What do you say?
He said, "I'm going to be ready for what's it?"
Yeah, middleweight
he
Square
said
Garden.
Yeah, he said he's going to be ready for that fight, and that's exactly what he needs to be doing. So that way,
UFC 230. And check this out.
He's going to step right in there.
Check this out. This isn't the first time he's did this. I believe when it was Adesanya maybe and Tavares. You guys remember when Brad Tavares, like Dana White thought he might have been injured, but Thiago Santos was going to replace him. So it was going to be Adesanya versus Santos. But Tavares came out like, no, I'm not injured. But Santos was still ready. He was like, well, I'm staying ready if someone does get injured. And so he said, I stayed ready for that fight. And now that we've got all these middleweights at Madison Square Garden, he's going to stay ready again. He's going to cut the weight, have the camp, and he's going to be ready to step in. But check this out. Here's why. Because it's hard to get these higher-ranked opponents to say yes to a fight with Thiago Santos. So this way, if one of the fights fall out, he's going to get one of the opportunity that he couldn't get otherwise. Because a lot of these guys would say no for whatever reason. I'm injured. I'm not trying to fight this month. Santos can't get a higher ranked opponent. But now that he's going to stay ready and there's all these damn ranked middleweights, there's a very high possibility one of those fights fall out and Santos gets that opportunity. So that's going to be dope. And the way he's approaching it is also kind of unique. You usually don't see fighters cutting weight just in case to try and get a damn ranked opponent. but that's going to be crazy.
Didn't he also say that he was going to move up to 205 eventually?
Yeah, he said soon, a couple fights.
Well, that's a good place for him. I mean, shoot, we see what Anthony Smith is doing up there now, and middleweight or light heavyweight's not the most. It's not the most stacked division. So anytime you move up from middleweight or even down from heavyweight to light heavyweight, you're a lot closer to the title shot. We see Rockhold and Romero coming off of losses, but they're still in the title picture at light heavyweight because there's not a lot of contenders up there. So Santos is a guy that can move up, get a couple KOs like Anthony Smith, and be looking at a top 2 ranked opponent. We got Anthony Smith, who's going to be fighting the number 2 ranked guy, Volkan Ozdemir. He's one fight away from a title shot, and he was just fighting at middleweight his damn self. So
that's crazy. He wants to fight like the title.
Yeah, and he had that flying Plata Webs PK vids. His jiu-jitsu, some people after the fight, I heard, jiu-jitsu experts, I'm not the one to comment on, oh, he did this wrong or this wrong. Some people said he was doing some things technically wrong with his jiu-jitsu, but I thought, okay, it was sloppy, but he was still getting out of some shit and rolling out of some stuff, and the flying Plata attempt you clearly don't see. That might have been sloppy to some people, but it was really fun. Some of the shit he was doing was really fun.
Going for stuff, so you gotta give him his credit.
That armbar was almost deep. Like, and when I thought he was gonna lock that armbar in low key. I was like, holy shit, that would have been crazy.
He was trying a lot of stuff, I'm not an expert on jiu-jitsu necessarily either, but even I know a couple of things I could see him doing wrong, especially from the bottom of half guard. Like, I feel like he'll definitely get better. You can see he's got some jiu-jitsu talent. I just think maybe like blue belt level.
He seemed small. Do you think either he could fight at 170 or Santos should be fighting at 205? Because they definitely seemed like they were in different weight classes in that fight.
I think it's a bit of both. I mean, he did fight Millen, though. He's a 170 or so. He can make it to 170. He's kind of got the attitude where, he wants to be happy and healthy going into fight, so he can fight at 185. And it made a good point where instead of him going down and cutting himself all the way to 170, maybe he just needs to put on more weight, add that bit more muscle, that way he can be bigger 185.
Yeah, I was going to say, also, he probably wouldn't have got, this is kind of like one of those situations like where girls come to fight Cyborg for their chance in the UFC. Like, you're probably not getting a UFC contract unless you take this fight. And so it's like, all right, I'll fight at 185 in my first fight, but who knows? He might look to go back down to 170 now that he's in the UFC, because Dana White said he's definitely getting another fight. So maybe he had to take this fight because it's like, fuck it.
No, he is a 185, but he did fight Millen. When Millen was at 185.
I thought he fought him at 170.
Yeah, I mean,
it
just can actually grow into the division. So
okay, I was about to say because Thiago Santos did just seem like pretty big in there compared to Kevin Holland, but yeah. Full-time family, we got 41 people listening. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button before you forget what's going on.
Hey, Wrath of a Raider asked a good question. What will the title fight be at middleweight Square Garden or Madison Square Garden? I think is what it meant for 230.
It could be DC versus Stipe, because he's saying that if Brock doesn't get this exemption, then he might want to take a title fight beforehand. So if maybe Lesnar looks like he's going to maybe pop, then maybe he'll just, I'm going to just defend my title at heavyweight and then fight Stipe, because they need a big main event to actually obviously main event that card. So It can only
Let's
be
look at
a
the
light
title
heavyweight
picture real
fight.
fast.
Because for me, it can only be a light heavyweight title fight. It can only be a heavyweight title fight. Or maybe if Max Holloway gets this shit together and fight Ortega. So
Max
it can only be something
Holloway,
of that magnitude.
maybe he could be healthy. That's one that could happen. Max Holloway,
Yeah.
Holloway versus Ortega possibly.
Cyborg Nunes.
Woodley
perhaps, if you wanna get
Woodley
behind
versus
Cyborg.
Covington, depending on how Woodley comes out against Till if he wins, or Till versus Covington.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if Till Covington will be the fight because obviously Till is going to win that fight. I'm just saying that right there for everyone to hear that. Till
That'd be a
will
tough
win
fight
that
for Till,
fight.
man. That could be a tough
Till
fight.
Covington. Honestly, yeah, we're gonna talk about Woodley versus Till, man. I fuck with my dog Till. It sucks that he had to get thrown to Woodley this early. I don't know if I can pick it, man.
Whoa.
It's
such a
hard.
bully that his tirade gonna end like this. He's gonna get knocked out. He's not gonna get the immediate rematch. You know he's gonna be bitching saying that. How do I not get an immediate rematch? Cody got knocked out and he got.
Tyron's gonna be
It is what it
pissed
is.
when he doesn't get an immediate rematch, and you know he's not getting one. But Whitaker, he's a champion that's gonna be looking to come back right from. No, he's coaching. He's coaching against Gastelum on the Ultimate
his
Fighter.
fight is
So
likely to be early next year.
yeah, early
He's still got that
2019. So
Yeah.
Cormier, I mean, possibly Shevchenko comes out unscathed against Nico Montano. That's a very real possibility. Rose
But with that
Namajunas.
main event,
Rose
though,
Namajunas, I would not be surprised if she came back to fight at Madison Square Garden. I don't know about a main event, but I mean, if you think about her last two fights, Madison Square Garden, Brooklyn, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she came back from her health issues at around time for Madison Square Garden. I think Rose will definitely either be fighting at Madison Square Garden or the end of the year card. But we got Cyborg Nunes, which I think is more likely to happen at the end of the year. Keep in mind, we also have UFC 231, which is going to be in Canada, I believe in, is it Calgary, or it's a big event. I mean, what do you guys think is going to happen for that event? I mean, maybe that's looking a little too far ahead, but
I mean, could that be GSP Silver? Like, could it?
that's what I was thinking. Do you guys? I don't think it'd be big enough. I was going to say, like, because there's been talks of GSP coming down to 155. What do you think about the winner of McGregor versus Khabib? Would you think that fight would be too big for Canada? Like fucking possibly Khabib versus
I think
GSP?
Canada will be perfect for that fight because
I just know like the bigger fights they like to have like in Vegas and shit. It seems like it's for like betting reasons. You know, it's kind of like. But
I agree with that. But then if you want to make a GSP fight as big as possible, you want to take it to Canada. And like for me, the biggest fight in history obviously is going to be Khabib versus Conor. But I think the biggest fight that will ever happen in UFC history would be GSP versus Conor. And I think in Canada, I think it adds that bit of a different spice to it where like it's going to get that whole
they're
kind
not
of
gonna
advantage.
put that in Canada, man.
I mean, you say that, but then I feel like Ireland will still travel to it. I feel like it will still be a big enough buzz. And you know, the Canada market's been craving for a big fight. I mean, they were all over that Calgary card, which was a decent fight, which was, okay, not a decent, it was a really good fight night. I feel like they'll be all over a pay-per-view which has Conor and GSP on it. So, I don't know. I feel like that could happen. It's unlikely.
Yeah,
oh my God, that weird guy.
There's a reason they do big fights in Vegas. There's a lot of connections there.
Yeah, and the infrastructure of Vegas is just,
GSP versus Nick Diaz says Ashtree. I think GSP is a good prediction. You know, who's he going to be fighting? Is it going to be Silva? Is it going to be Diaz? Is it going to be
You can't fight
McGregor?
Nick because he has that domestic violence case.
Yeah, I mean, he probably has to get that taken care of. It might be taken care of by then. That card's not going to be until like end of November, beginning of December. I think it's like December 2nd. So. But yeah, that could still be true. Shoot, it could be Nate Diaz for all we know. We've heard about fucking GSP versus Nate Diaz at this point. But yeah, I think it's safe to say we all think that might be a good time for GSP to come back, though. So as far as Madison Square Garden, man, you would think they needed a big main event. So maybe we could see like Daniel Cormier and Thug Rose on the same card. You know what I'm saying? I think that'd be fun. Rose and yeah, like, you know, he had the call Thug Rose, and then now they're fighting on the same card. That'd be kind of dope.
That would be dope.
And two title fights as well.
About John Jones? I mean, is there any chance he comes back soon?
I know, that's what I was thinking of as well, man. John Jones would love, I'm sure he would love to fight in New York, Madison Square Garden. We just don't have that update on John Jones as to when he's going to be back.
So long for them to decide. This is the weirdest.
It was meant to be sorted in July, was it not? So, like, I don't get what the hold-up is with it.
I don't know.
Yeah, but
there is no hold-up.
Daniel Cormier did say that he will fight Stipe Miocic again if Brock Lesnar can't make it to the fight. Do you guys think Brock Lesnar will make it to the fight through these USADA hurdles, or do you think that that this is all kind of, we're kidding ourselves here, you know, kind of expecting this to happen?
I mean, these are hurdles that are already been pushed down for him by USADA. I feel they're gonna get him to the fight regardless, no matter what. And he'll probably pop
So
like a month
crazy.
after the fight. So,
Bro, if they
probably
find
gonna
a way
pop
to
after
push
the
him
fight,
through,
man.
it's so crazy. I don't even know how I would react to that.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Somebody
know,
was saying, somebody said that he'll only do it if he gets an exemption.
I heard
don't
that.
know if that's
I heard
true.
that. I believe our boy Now and Later, he was saying that in the chat last night. He was saying that, I think it was maybe Brock's manager, maybe he said little Paul Heyman dude that be rocking on the side of him, but he said, yeah, they were demanding like a 3-month exemption and saying they're 42 years old, it's now or never. But it's like, I don't see how that's going to fly. He already got an exemption when he came back last time and he ended up failing the damn test. So it's like, oops, we shouldn't have given him that exemption. So how could you give him another one? I seen we had fights with I was going to say your name. I was going to start talking shit because that was the guy that was trying to build a fight with me. But you know what? We're going to let him breathe, actually. What's going on, everybody? Somebody got wrenched, though. It wasn't him. Somebody got wrenched. He said, what did he say? It's
Yeah, he
the
didn't want to
uh-oh.
bring it up. He was talking some
Uh-oh.
nonsense, man.
Talking that nonsense. Forward things. Ashtray says, yes, they're going to lie to us and say he'll clear, but he's jacked up in a fucking mutant gorilla spunk. That's what I'm saying. If he comes through this thing, I don't know. Well, what do you guys feel like? What are you going to feel like as fans if Brock Lesnar beats USADA? What does that mean to you guys if he passes
Dude, I
it?
just want DC to beat his ass.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like fuck it. Like,
as long as
okay, well, if that's the case, do you think that we should just say fuck it and give Brock Lesnar an exemption? Like,
nah, still let him test, but just I don't know, let him pop later or some shit.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying.
Like, let DC sign a waiver, right? Like, all right, one time only, Brock Lesnar can come into this fight on estrogen blockers or some shit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. To me, that's kind of standing out like the elephant in the room. I don't know how he's going to pass the test, and if we assume that he's not going to, fuck it, let's give him the exemption. I mean,
yeah, I think if they let him fight again and it's clear that he's not off of that shit, then it's a fucking joke.
That's what I'm thinking. Like if it's crazy, it is.
Look at the people whose careers have basically been ruined or tarnished or whatever by USADA, and then they get this motherfucker in there and they're gonna pay him millions of dollars, and nobody gives a shit. It's weird, man.
And then are they going to lie to us? And I'm saying that because are they going to say he passed his drug test? Because I don't think any of us are going to believe that unless he's just, you know what I'm saying? So are they going to say he passed it?
After the fight, man. I'm telling
you. After the fight? I mean, maybe, but you saw John Jones, John Jones got popped before the fight. You know, and that was maybe they didn't want to pop Brock and John before the fight. That would have been devastating, but I don't know. That just almost seems 6 months of testing. That just almost seems unrealistic. But like you guys said, I mean, I know a lot of people just want to see the fight. DC fighting Brock, but this is it. Like if we're not careful, and if we're just like, all right, let's see the fight, and Brock Lesnar does come through and pop after the fight. We saw what happened with Mark Hunt. He won the fight and then popped. So what if he beats DC and then pops? Do you want to see that?
Yeah, I would unfollow DC, man. Like, I would not fuck with him anymore if he lost to Brock.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we got to be careful. Look, a lot of people now recognize Daniel Cormier as the greatest of all time. What happens if the WWE guy beats the greatest fighter of all time?
I just can't fathom that. Like, it's just how does Brock beat? Like,
I mean, the only way possible would be some sort of wrestling situation.
Yeah, but he's not a better wrestler than these.
I mean,
well, he's got the size on him. So,
yeah, he's got the size advantage. He might not be better technical wrestler, but he could probably win a match against DC in a wrestling match, possibly.
No.
I mean, but also
technically better, but it's feasible for him to, like, let's say, get into a position where he just has the power to hold him down. Let's say, I
don't even think he has the balance. Once DC has that single leg, you don't got the balance.
And if it's an unlevel playing field, I mean, that's also an advantage.
Exactly, because that power can tell, man. That power is important in the cage as well. Something that you don't really think about too much when you're talking about skill, technique, length, and all this. But I mean, power is a big advantage you can have in the cage. So I mean, we saw it with Cejudo versus DJ. Like that was a lot about strength when it came to those takedowns as well.
Nah, those are skill takedowns.
Oh no, those were skill, but like
single leg, DJ defended it.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? Perfect example. In the fourth round, when
he goes for a
but a perfect example of how it was strength was in the fourth round when DC was talking about how he moved the head, and it was obviously great technique. It was great technique, but he did also that strength to just move his head, how he manipulated his head, pushed him to the other side, and then he was able to complete that takedown when he turned him around. Like a lot of Cejudo's ability in that fight when he was in the clinch and whatnot, it was down to his strength, and even when he was holding him down as well. Like a lot of it was strength.
Because we've seen DJ get taken down by guys that weren't as skilled as Cejudo.
Yeah, but it's not when he hold him down like Cejudo did. Like,
at least his defensive wrestling hasn't been his strongest.
But I mean, my whole point is just Cejudo was, you could tell, killing it.
Yeah,
he was stronger.
he was.
Bigger back,
I mean, obviously that helps when holding him down.
Yeah. It definitely plays a big factor in fights, in my opinion.
I think DC versus Brock goes down just like Kane versus Brock.
Yeah, me too.
I hope so.
Especially
there's a real possibility. I think DC would definitely be the favorite, but I mean, I don't know if it would. So, I mean, are you guys saying Brock Lesnar has like zero chance, no paths to victory, like Priscilla Cachoeira type odds?
I'd say he's like,
I'd say
20% maybe.
I don't think
20% Johnson does it.
The guy's scared to get hit. He cuts easy. Come on, man.
Okay, well, I mean, hopefully, but yeah. So
DC gonna hit him he gonna hit him from everywhere. He got no defense.
All right. So with that being said, if Brock Lesnar can't make it to the fight, Daniel Cormier said he'll rematch Stipe Miocic. Do you guys think that DC would win a rematch with Stipe if they were to fight again?
Oh, you know what? I was thinking about it, right? So Stipe did catch him with a couple of good shots in that first round, and he's obviously got, you would say a striking advantage. He's certainly got really good hands, and obviously that right hand catches a lot of people out, like you've seen with Overeem, Verdum, obviously Dos Santos. But the way DC called the KO, like that's why you have to give DC your credit. Like you can't take away the fact that he's a two-time champion, he's a double champion, and he's actually earned it, and he beat the best heavyweight of all time. He called how he was gonna knock him out. He said he'd leave his hands down from the clinch. He caught with that right hand. I feel like he could do something similar to that again, or he could find holes in his game where, you know what, he'll find something that not of a heavyweight found, and he'll probably be able to exploit it again. So I still feel like DC will be a favorite, and I feel like he'll still get it done as well.
Here's the thing too. I love Stipe. He's a G and a good guy and all that. But I think he if you look at all of his title defenses, he got dropped in almost all of them, if not all of them. Overeem dropped him. Verdum I guess didn't, but he got dropped a bunch. And DC just happened to be able to finish it. So I just don't know if Stipe's on his level, honestly.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. It would be interesting to see, you know, after how big of a favorite Stipe was in the second fight, to see how big of a favorite DC would be in the rematch. You know, that would be interesting. But yeah, man, that's a real possibility. I mean, and when it comes to the heavyweight division, there's not really a lot of clear-cut contenders. What are you guys' thoughts on some of the up-and-coming heavyweight contenders, like, you know, Alexander Volkov, Curtis Blades? I mean, really, there's not a lot of guys up there for a title shot.
Francis Ngannou.
I mean,
Derek Lewis, I guess, just beat Francis, but he's not. He almost doesn't seem like he wants a title shot. Like, if I'm Derek Lewis, I mean, it's like, who? You or Brock? You did just beat the number one contender. Shoot, you might as well try and get a title fight one time for the one time. But, I mean, he could. He's probably ranked number 1 or 2 at this point. Let's look at that, actually. I wonder where he's ranked with that win over Francis in the heavyweight division.
Curtis Blades will probably
number 2. Look at Derek Lewis sitting at number 2 in the heavyweight division.
Crazy, man.
Yo, shout out to the Black Beast. That's hilarious, though.
What ranking is Mark Hunt? Is he rank 8 now? Because I mean, he literally beat Derek Lewis out last year. So
who?
Well, even that long ago. Mark Hunt.
Mark Hunt is ranked all the way down at 8. Yeah, and you got Derek Lewis at 2, Mark Hunt at 8 right now. You know that's a little shaken up. But it's just he got to fight Francis. You know what I'm saying? There's probably a lot of guys that, at hindsight being 2020, could have probably took Francis's spot up there. But Francis is still ranked number 4. Like, when are the people in the media gonna learn? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty 2 disappointing losses. So we'll see if he can come back. What do you guys think about Francis's return? Do you think he's ever gonna return to that dominant knockout artist? Or do you think people are gonna keep looking to exploit his gas tank or his wrestling from now on?
I think it can happen. I think he can return to the person he was, because the ability is there. It's just whether the mindset is applied with it. So I feel like this is where the UFC or like his management need to come in and actually help the guy and like give him a fight where literally give him a tomato can. Like, I don't care. Just get a tomato can in there, let him KO him and get that confidence back. You can see in that Derek Lewis fight, he was just lacking it. He didn't want to get into that fucking exchange. Like, he was like literally the complete opposite of Cody Garbrandt, where he didn't want to get in an exchange. He was just like, let me see what's gonna happen. Let me see what's gonna happen. Oh, okay, the first round's finished. Let me see what's gonna happen. Oh, second round's finished. Let me see. Oh shit, Dana was talking shit about me in the press conference. What the fuck? Did I actually lose that fight like without throwing a punch? So You can see what I mean. I think if he gets that confidence back, he can certainly be the guy he was. Because let's not forget, he did literally destroy over him in one round. He destroyed Arlovski. He was on a streak, and even in that first fight, in the fight with Stipe in the first round, he was causing Stipe a lot of problems. So
Yeah,
if he
the
just gets
first
that
round for sure.
ability to go back on that front foot and actually like go for the kill, like there's not going to be a lot of people who can really maintain that and stop him.
We still there was a fight that was scheduled to happen, Francis Ngannou versus Junior Dos Santos. Maybe we could see that, because he's going to be clearly fighting down in the rankings, but still being ranked number 4. I don't know if you can just throw him like an unranked guy. So
I'd like to see him fight JDS.
Yeah, it'd be a fun fight.
Nah, JDS is facing Tuivasa, and even then, I wouldn't give him that one.
I don't think that's 100% official. They've also rumored. I mean, it seemed like it from Tuivasa's post, like he was giving us a clear hint. But also afterward,
I remember seeing the. Sorry to cut you off. I remember seeing the picture for I think Sydney. There's a fight night in Sydney.
Tuivasa posted. It's actually in Adelaide. It's in Adelaide, and he posted the poster on his Instagram, and he just put like the eye emoji. And so you could take that as he's like giving his fans a hint. This is who I'm fighting next. But after that came out, there was a little bit of pushback. I remember, I don't know if it was Ariel Helwani, if it was UFC, a manager, somebody was like, yeah, this fight's not official though. And then also I saw a poster for like Tuivasa versus Tibura or something right after that, like the exact same kind of poster. So it's not official yet, but it did seem like that's where things were heading. And it's also a great fight, I think, Tuivasa versus JDS. But JDS also, I mean, even if not Francis, I mean, what about, well, I don't know, I was going to say JDS talked about a rematch with Stipe, but if he's fighting Tuivasa, it would be someone else. We'd kind of be looking for an opponent for Francis. But I mean, so yeah, who knows? Mark Hunt's a guy that wanted the Francis fight, but he's got the fight coming up. Actually, he's going to be the main event, taking on Alexei Olenek, when the UFC goes to Russia. So he's got a fight booked as well. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, fun.
I think Ngannou definitely needs to find a real camp to go to.
Yeah, I mean, what's he training out of now? Just the performances too? He got like a camp up there?
He's got some camp that like has been with him since the beginning. I just think he needs to get some better training partners, some dudes who won't
not
like
they're like not yes men.
Yeah. People who come at him.
Tell him like, yo, we gotta start wrestling, bro. We've been punching that machine all goddamn day now. You're not gonna beat your score, bro. All right, let's move to the next topic. We got Dana White saying there's no world tour for Conor McGregor versus Khabib. What do you guys think about that?
Shit, sure. I'm disappointed. I'm being honest. I mean, obviously, it's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a great lead-up and all, but like, this is the biggest fight of the year, in history of the UFC, and probably as big as they're going to get unless Conor faces GSP. So this is what you want to get as much of the casual fans into, obviously, to make sure that they know about the fight and get as much of like an audience as you can as possible. And I feel like this again goes with the whole, they're just making fights for the sake of it. They're just booking whatever. They're getting Darren Till, or a UK guy, into fight in Dallas for whatever reason I don't actually understand. So I mean, it's just short-sighted booking in my opinion. And I feel like they could have given this, like, they could have put this as maybe the main event in the MSG or maybe in November or wherever you want to put it. Maybe even in Canada it could have been. Or whatever. And then you actually give it the full, okay, maybe not Canada, but you know what I mean, give it the full world tour, give it the full
either Vegas at the end of the year or
honestly, I don't want it to be a long thing, because the way Khabib be training, man, I don't want him to get injured. That's a good
point. But one of the things I was going to say
is,
do you think there would be a little bit of people wore out on the whole McGregor World Tour thing since he just fought Mayweather and then went around like, what was he going to do, bring out the minks again? You probably don't want to wear people out or get people burnt out on that whole McGregor shtick.
Because, Mayweather was like that in the beginning of his career, but like I think McGregor's at a point now where he's not going to be like that crazy anymore,
Yeah. And I think this is a fight, these guys are just trying to get down to business. They're not really interested in selling this fight. They really just want to fuck each other up.
And then they'll do some other things.
But Dana White also said, there's not enough time. But, maybe they could have gave themselves more time. But he said they were trying to get this thing done as soon as possible. This is actually what Dana White had to say. He said, we don't have time for a world tour. These guys are going to fight the first week of October. Both guys are going into camp. We'll do something fun. We'll do some different stuff. We're literally having a big meeting on Monday to get this stuff in order and get it going. We're pretty confident that we can control what happens. What happened in New York, obviously, if you look at what happened, everyone was loading onto the buses. Everything was done. Our staff still handled it pretty damn well for what was going down. we were very aware nothing is going to happen. We'll be good. So it's looking like a timing issue, and he feels like, because somebody, and he's the last part where he said he thinks we can handle it. People thought that maybe they didn't want to do a world tour because they couldn't handle the security around the world for McGregor and Khabib's fucking crews traveling city to city to country together. How are you going to keep Artem Lobov from retaliating on all them motherfuckers? So people thought it might be, they were kind of trying to keep Artem Lobov at bay, which is why they're not going on a world tour. So maybe that had something to do with it. But Dana White thinks that they could have had that handled.
I think Stamina nailed it when he said it's just because Conor doesn't want to do it. Because, he's talked a lot about how tired he is of the media and all that shit. So it was probably part of his deal.
Yeah. Yeah, and now you remember that one time he got the fight taken away from him because he didn't want to do media. And then after that, Ronda Rousey actually got to do no media. So he's like, all right, my turn, motherfucker. I ain't hearing that. No, I ain't hearing you have to do media. Ronda didn't have to. I'm good. And we see how these, and especially with how the way the numbers are going, Conor McGregor's probably got, it seems like, has a lot more leverage behind the scenes right now than ever before. With the fucking bomb that was UFC 225 and UFC on Fox Calgary, those numbers for such stacked cards made no sense. Perplexing. It means like it's Conor or bust. And you can't even say it's because people didn't want to pay for the pay-per-view at UFC 225 anymore, because UFC on Fox 30 was fucking free on Fox. So the fact that still bombed, it's like Conor or bust. So if he don't want to do media, he probably ain't got to do media. Like if he don't want to, whenever people ask Dana White what's the punishment going to be for Conor, probably nothing. You're lucky Conor's not punishing. I'm just playing, but Conor's got a lot of leeway right now, and especially with these low numbers as of late, I could only imagine he's got a little more.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, I do feel he probably doesn't want to do the whole world tour. And I was looking at it from a business point of view, where with all these low numbers, they surely want to make sure that they capitalize on this and make the most out of it. But from a fan perspective, I'm ready to see this fight as soon as possible. I mean, we know the location, we know the date. So I'm ready for October 6th. I'm ready for this shit.
And maybe they feel like, honestly, the promos for this fight, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna be litty. Maybe running that bus attack is gonna do a little more than fucking wearing a mink coat and calling them names. But I mean, I would still like to see the press conference and get the fight in front of as many eyes as possible. But I think they're, like Dana said, we got something different planned. I think they're gonna shake it up, and they've got some good material to promote this fight with what's taken place. And I wonder if they're going to start to tell, the whole story, you know what I'm saying? Like, how this is deeper than rap, play out the whole Artem Lobov in the lobby. But I'll ask one of you guys, because I don't like talking about it without the details, before the Artem Lobov incident, I know Artem Lobov did a interview, I believe, in Russian, and that's what pissed Khabib off. But even before that, there was some shit that happened, I believe, with, one of Conor's homeboys or maybe one of Khabib's homeboys. And that's where I believe all of this started. But that's the one that I'm a little sketchy on the details, so I don't talk about it much. But even before that Artem Lobov interview, there was some shit that happened between Conor and Khabib's crews. That's part of the reason these guys don't really fuck with each other. Their teams don't fuck with each other. Did any of you guys know the details on that, or remember what I'm talking about?
I think it still was after that article.
205.
I know that a bunch of Khabib's crew attacked one of Artem's friends.
Yeah,
with bats and chains and whatever.
That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, I just didn't know the time. I don't like talking about. I don't know all the details, so I don't. Hey guys, remember one time someone got attacked with fucking bats and chains and. But yeah, that's the situation I'm talking about.
That's what they say.
It's alleged, but that's all part of the reason that these motherfuckers have confronted each other so many times outside of the octagon.
I heard some crazy rumors about Khabib. Just rumors. I don't know if they're true, but basically,
allegedly.
Dude's got some connections. Allegedly.
Oh yeah, no. Check this out. This shit got political. You guys remember after he beat Ally Quinta and after he was done with the interview, he got one more time on the mic and he spoke in Russian and there was no translator for it, but he spoke for a while. Well, what he was calling for, it was translated on, I believe, MMA Imports. I saw it after the show. Or after the fight, but I didn't want to make a video on it. Here's Khabib's translated, whatever. But what he was calling for was, I guess, somebody that had been sponsoring their team. I mean, he might have got caught up in a fraud situation, allegedly. But he also seemed like he might have been some sort of big mobster type dude. Just from how it was being bailed out. Like, I believe the article said Khabib asked Putin to bail out or pardon mobster over there. That was what the article said. The translation was. And so now check this out. He was asking that favor from Putin. But Putin just took the picture with Conor McGregor. Khabib was with the people. So this shit is political over there. It's like Khabib was asking for a favor from Putin. And some people say that that might have pissed Putin off the way that he asked. And so now he's being taking pictures and shit, inviting Conor McGregor over. So this shit is so much deeper than we all even know. It's not just a fight, you know. It's political. It's crew versus crew. It's everything. So I mean, there's a lot of different ways that this fight's being promoted in itself. Now and later said, look up Khabib's father. That dude is a full-blown dude. Chill. Chill. Steven MC said the numbers are what they are because it's clearly been Conor or bust for a while now. But he can only fight a few times a year at best. The rest of the year is what we see month to month. But before Conor started doing crazy numbers, I mean, I don't know. It seemed we're at like an all-time low. You know what I'm saying? It seems like even with Conor McGregor being around, even when he's not fighting, you would like to think there's at least more eyes on the sport. And maybe it's just my world, but I'm starting to hear more and more people talking about UFC. There's at least more casual fans. Maybe they're not all paying attention on a day-to-day basis, but as far as the casual fan count, there's a lot of them. The sport's growing. It feels like it's still a fast-growing sport, but the ratings are just fucking bombing. So
227 didn't do too bad. It sold out the old arena.
And yeah, Dana White said 227 did good, but he was talking about selling out the arena numbers. I think they've been doing good as far as that's concerned. I'm still interested to see how the pay-per-view is going to do, though. I mean, DJ's never been known as the biggest pay-per-view draw. This was a rematch between Cejudo and Dillashaw, and then the rest of the card was not stacked at all. It reminded me kind of UFC 224. I mean, Santos versus Holland was a fun fight, but that's not a pay-per-view fight. Polyana Viena versus JJ Aldrich, fun fight, not a pay-per-view fight. And then the fight before that, Cub Swanson versus Moicano. Okay, we'll take that on the pay-per-view, but still, this was not a stacked pay-per-view. So the just because it did great in LA and it sold out the venue, that's good for business in LA. But I don't know how that necessarily works as far as ratings are concerned. That doesn't mean it's going to do great on ratings. And even the fucking prelims weren't as stacked as some of these other cards. I remember UFC 220.
Some good fights though.
Yeah, there were some good and closely contested fights.
That dude who got dropped a couple times off leg kicks and.
Yeah, that was Brett the Pikey Johns versus the young Punisher. Alex Munoz? Ain't that his name?
Yeah,
Pedro Munoz. Pedro Munoz.
That was a good fight.
Yeah, man, dropped him 3 with 2 leg kicks, 2 body shots. Holy smokes, and he survived. I mean, even though Brett Johns showed a lot of durability in that fight, you gotta wonder how's he gonna look. Is he gonna be able to last in his next fight? Because to my knowledge, he definitely kicked the leg a little in the first round and whatnot, but it wasn't like Justin Gaethje or Edson Barboza like leg kicks we were looking at. Like, oh smokes, is his leg gonna take it? He just kind of fell down and then a couple kicks to the body. So I'm interested to see how Brett Johns looks when he comes back. But it was a little, concerning the way he got dropped 4 damn times in that fight. But it was a crazy fight for sure. Rugby Queen said, never mind, it's on. Kenshiro Ryu said, UFC, stupid-ass company. Now, and I wonder how next year, this whole ESPN deal, I wonder if that is going to help at all, because there's going to be, the sport's probably going to have at least more people that are able to watch it on ESPN. You're going to see it on all the fucking first takes of the world and those shows and stuff like that. They'll probably start talking about it more, and there's a new audience. I mean, Fox was introduced.
They might have Conor and Khabib on first take.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Conor coming to first take, that'd be crazy. Yo,
Conor might throw a chair at Khabib.
Yeah. No, that would be crazy. So I wonder how that's going to, if things are going to change as far as MMA is concerned in 2019. But hopefully it's for the better. I hope we don't have to have Conor here or you can't fucking sell pay-per-views. Because whenever CM Punk first fought, he sold like 1 million. And maybe it's because it was his first fight and people thought...
The second time he fought, nobody gave a shit.
Nobody gave a shit. No one gave a shit. And that was with the stacked cards. So it's just like, Conor McGregor wasn't on that card. So maybe it was all CM Punk on that card. Just the speculation, like, what if? Because no one gave a fuck the second fight. And, Conor wasn't on the card the first fight. So interesting situation, but yeah, man, we'll see what happens. And as a fan, it's just, perplexing to see that sometimes, especially the free card UFC on Fox Calgary, Jeremy Stevens versus Aldo. You got fucking Joanna versus Torres, and then Eddie Alvarez versus Poirier, and it's like the lowest numbers of the year. Like, I get if you have bad numbers and a bad night, but how was that card the lowest of the year? Like,
You would never get over that full time.
I'm not.
Pretty card.
Bro, there was like Brunson versus Jacare before that. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the lowest of the year is just different to me. Like, it's one thing if it just doesn't. Yeah, it's one thing if it just has bad numbers. But to be the lowest of the year, that's super confusing. What do you guys think about this whole Nate Diaz situation? He spoke a little more after potentially pulling out of the Poirier fight. He's not all the way out, but he definitely seems like he's on the way out. So he said, like, first we saw the tweet. He said, "I'm not fighting on that show. Fuck the UFC." Afterward, a few people caught up with him, and he said, this is what he had to say about potentially being out of the fight. He said that they were bad-mouthing me, saying I was turning down fights all this time. I never turned down a fight in my life. And then they're all backing the other guy when he has a lawsuit. But I have a lawsuit, and it's just like Nate's turning down fights. Kiss my ass. Fuck the UFC. Fuck all this shit. I feel like I will fight, but they ain't gonna tell me what is what. The fans are pumped for you and Dustin. How do you see this ending? He said, fuck, I don't know. Man, we're gonna have to see. I don't even know if I'm gonna be fighting. They better start acting right and start over-promoting instead of under-promoting. They brought me to this press conference late. They brought me. So, I mean, weird situation. What are you guys' thoughts on this whole Nate Diaz-Poirier situation, and now Nate Diaz looking like he's upset with the UFC? I honestly feel like he might be out of the fight, man. I don't know. And it doesn't look like he's too amped to take this fight now, being under-promoted.
I think he's in a fight, man. Honestly, I think he's in a fight, Poirier. I mean, he
Yeah, I
signed
agree.
to fight him. I don't think Nate's the type to pull out of a fight, because that's what he's gonna do if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, because
But it seems like
Poirier
he's just
came out and said the same thing. I ain't in this fight either. So, I mean, it wouldn't just be like Nate Diaz, but he did say, I don't know if we're going to be fighting, I mean, okay, just tell me this. What do you think about the way he walked out of the press conference?
I think that's just typical Nate being Nate. I mean, for me, like, my 2 cents on it is that he's just a master manipulator. Like, he doesn't give the impression that he's always trying to, like, promote fights or do the most, but he really is doing the most. I mean, if you think about it, he's always in the headlines. He's always creating some sort of news. There's always some sort of drama. Like, this is a way of just keeping himself in the news. They're always going to be talking about Nate every other day now, up until the fight. Like, there's going to be probably some drama about him wanting to change venue. Once that's going to be sorted, he's going to be talking about, you know what, I need to be getting a certain amount of money, otherwise I'm not going to show up to weigh-ins. He's always going to create some sort of drama, and like, I probably wouldn't be surprised if he slaps Poirier at the face-off. He's probably going to do something wild. So. I mean, this is Nate we're talking about. You always get some shit going on. So I feel like he's going to definitely fight. 100% he's going to fight. And I mean, I'm interested by the matchup because, I mean, the 2 stand-up guys, they both got good jiu-jitsu. So and no one's going to go for the takedown. So, I mean, maybe a knockdown and then some jiu-jitsu happens from there. So it's an interesting fight to me, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think the matchup is great. I mean, some people feel like it's a bad matchup for Nate Diaz. I actually disagree. I mean, I think the worst matchup for Nate
100%.
Diaz is going to be
Only
a dominant wrestler. But other than that, this matchup would be a great fight for the fans. And the UFC 230 as a co-main event, I think it would definitely deliver. The only way this fight doesn't deliver is if it's like an early finish, and even that would be crazy. I mean, either way, you know what I'm saying?
Let me pose this to you guys. I mean, I think, if anything, because you think about all the matches he's been linked with since obviously the second fight with McGregor. I mean, he's linked with maybe fighting Kevin Lee, fighting Tony Ferguson, fighting maybe even Khabib at one point. I think this is the easiest matchup of anyone he could have come back to fight. If you really look at it, I mean, he could have fought maybe even GSP.
Yeah, at least the best matchup for him.
This is the easiest fight, in my opinion, yeah. Or at least the easiest matchup.
Matches up well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not an easy fight. Poirier's been on a good
the
streak.
best matchup for Nate.
The thing with Poirier is that he brawls. Like, he'll stay skillful for a little bit, but like that brawler side of him always tends to come out in every fight, even with the Alvarez fight. So if he does that with Nate, I think Nate could catch him with a 1-2 and hurt him.
And one thing Nate said that he's been out because of a lawsuit. I mean, that's kind of new as well. You know what I'm saying? Because he's hinted at coming back. Am I not mistaken? Hasn't Nate Diaz hinted at coming back multiple times?
Yep.
The UFC's offered him fights. They've said, offered him fights in multiple weight classes. So it's interesting as well. The UFC would be offering him fights if he's not eligible to fight.
Well, the
That's
thing
what
with
I'm
that is,
saying.
I know Jeremy Stevens had like a really bad, like he beat up some dude and he was in jail or something like a couple days before, but he was able to fight still. Like if the UFC wants to, they could pull some
Right.
strings.
Like why in the hell did Nate go 2 years and not mention that?
Yeah, not one
And
time.
then
He
now
talked
all of
about
a
bike
sudden, like-
season. He talked about going to boxing. He talked about someone's got to get me. Someone's got to make me excited to fight. He didn't never say
Right.
nothing like, "Hey, I can't come out till my lawsuit, is done with. Sorry guys, leave me
Especially
the
when
fuck
Dana-
alone."
Especially when Dana was trying to put him on blast saying that he was turning down fights. It's not like he sent out a tweet and said, "No, I'm under a lawsuit. Shut up, Dana," or whatever.
And then you remember the Tyron Woodley, Nate Diaz whole ordeal? Nate Diaz was one of the people that let us know, like, the UFC offered him the fight, and he was entertained. I believe it was Dana White who actually said the Nate Diaz, Tyron Woodley fight. Yeah, Dana White's the one that kind of said that fight's the no-go, but Nate Diaz and Tyron Woodley were kind of entertained in the fact that actually, yeah, we were offered this fight. So it's like, there's been so many times to mention this lawsuit, but we're hardcore fans who are keeping up with that. It's probably, the casual fans are probably going to eat that up. Like, oh, he hasn't been eligible to fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, if you're in a lawsuit, do you really want that to be going public? So I don't think you really want to be publicizing that, especially if you're in the midst of one that could be going against you. So I feel like there's reason behind not actually want to make it put into the public circles, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. We didn't hear about Bisping's really until before his fight, but you guys remember he had Bisping had a little bit of a loss. That 24-hour fitness deal came up before his
Are
fight.
we talking about Goat Bisping? Wait, are we talking about Goat Bisping?
Yeah, we're talking about the Goat Bisping.
Cool. Yeah.
But he was eligible to fight through that, yeah. So, I mean, you definitely don't want to publicize that. You don't want your lawsuit out in the public. That could actually hurt your case. Actually, speaking of Diaz brothers and being public with your law, court situations and stuff like that, Nick Diaz recently with his issues, you know what I'm saying, with that chick where he was, he's still going through that situation, but that was a situation where they actually went to the public, and I thought that might not be the best idea. Whenever after it came out that Nick Diaz was arrested, his friend came out and started like posting messages and videos like, "This bitch is crazy, everybody." And it's like,
they might be called for defamation of character.
Yeah, you want to prove that in court. You don't want to prove it in the court of public opinion. That could actually make your case worse. So, it's interesting that Nate Diaz had the idea of, I'm not saying anything about my case, and Nick Diaz's homie is like, "This bitch is crazy." You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no. Interesting though. Hopefully Nate Diaz fights. Honestly, whenever he walked off from the press conference, I had a feeling for the worst. After he tweeted like, "I'm not fighting on that show," like he said multiple times, he might not be fighting. I
think he's gonna fight though. Like I don't think he's gonna. He doesn't like. That's one thing about Nate. He don't pull out fights.
Yeah, I mean,
never pull out of a fight.
I think this is a new Nate Diaz.
That would be some next level bitch if he did pull out, man. I mean, I personally doubt it.
Yeah, I agree. It would look really bad.
He's just saying that because he's upset right now. They say crazy shit all the time. That's what.
Yeah, no, you're right though. It would look bad if he agreed to fight, and then the reason you're pulling out is like, "Man, they made me late to the press conference."
The reason is really just a compilation thing, honestly. Like.
Yeah, no, this is kind of a lot of drama too. So maybe it's a smart move by Nate Diaz. You know what I'm saying? Manipulating, like you were saying earlier. It's pretty smart.
Look at all the attention he's getting from doing it.
And now, shoot, he might not even have to go to the next press conference. You know what I'm saying? Because people are gonna still be. No, they made him come late to the last press conference. Why would he show up to this press conference? Like, it is what it is. Hopefully, he comes back. That would be great to see Poirier versus Diaz, but it's a little in jeopardy right now. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, just before we go to the next topic, I just want to share some love to the chat. Obviously, Stamina MC, shouting out. Obviously, we'll just pop into the chat. Rugby Queen, shout you out. Obviously, my boy, All American Chelsea FC, I'll shout you out. Ryu, in that chat.
MMA Addict.
Obviously, shout out all the man them out in the chat, showing some love.
Yo, Ford, I want to ask you something about Darren Till, man.
Hey, you know what? Let's just shoot the cam and go for it, bro. Tell me.
The 22 game. Hold on, you guys. Wait, real quick. The 22 game is in the building. What's up, man? How you feel about that Cejudo fight after the panel?
He said that we cursed the GOAT, man.
He said we cursed the GOAT. I didn't see it. What's up?
Yo, look in the chat, man. I had to give him that emoji. I had to give him that Max Holloway, man.
Yo, that's hilarious. All right, but yeah, so We can move on. We're going to talk about Darren Till. He was going to ask you a question, but this is the actual topic. My fight is against my weight, not Woodley. He's actually admitting to having these weight issues here, and that's kind of surprising because we heard, his weight cut had to do with a personal emergency and not the fact that it was a bad weight cut. And now he's saying, hey, my biggest fight is with trying to make weight, not necessarily Woodley. So with that being said, we're going to talk about Darren Till versus Tyron Woodley. What was the question you had to ask about Darren Till?
Like, he said he doesn't care about his wife, his daughter. He just cares about being a fighter.
Dude, if you listen to that interview, it sounds real bad the way he says it.
He says it with a straight
face. All right,
face.
does somebody have a link to the timestamp to it? If so, if someone has that in the chat, I think someone linked it way earlier. If someone has that, I'm gonna fuck around.
I just dropped the link to the video.
Yo, give it your name. He had it right there.
10:05.
All right, let me see. I was just trying to play the audio. You said it's at like 10:05. Wait. That was a link to this video.
I can't remember exactly what the time was.
Yeah, it was.
Bro, and you telling me this guy's not gonna win that belt? He's ready, man. He's ready for this shit.
Yo.
Hey, let's go, man.
Yeah, that link.
When fanboy bad things happen.
Hey, we in here, man. We in here, man.
Hey, I think I took the wrong
I'm still holding
on.
Yeah,
I think so.
That fight. I want Darren Till to win, but I gotta do more research on that.
But that's, like Ashtray said, he said there's a level of selfishness that's required to reach it to the top. I agree, but at the same time, like when you say, it sounds bad when you say, I don't care about my daughter, like my family, my wife. It just sounds bad. But to be fair, that could be why he's one of the best fighters in the world and he's undefeated. But at the same time, it just sounds a little off.
Let me get some context to it a little bit.
I was going to say this.
I do.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just to give a bit of context. Obviously, he does care about his family, obviously, his wife. He's not seen them that much because obviously they're in Brazil. But I think the mentality of every fighter, once you're in that cage, is you don't care about anything. You just care about getting that win no matter what. And you go in there like a killer. You go in there like a savage. You're not the same person you are when you're day-to-day life, when you're a husband, you're a wife, your husband, your wife, obviously the female fighter as well. You're a father, you're a brother, you're whatever you are. You don't go with that same mentality. You go with that killer mentality. Like, you know what, I'm going in there to kill whoever I'm going against. And that's what Till's got. And he has that in his mentality when he's training. That's why you see him knocking out his sparring partners. You see that when he's going into fights and he's going in for that kill switch and he's killing all those opponents. Like we saw with Cerrone and obviously a lot of fights before then. So I feel like that mentality is something that reigns true with him especially. And that's another part of his game that's going to take him through to this fight. And that's why I have that belief that he's going to do it. I think he's going to get this knockout as well. So I want to know what you guys think, because you think this is going to decision? This is no way going to decision. Not with Woodley's gas tank.
The only guy is
not with Till's manipulation of space. Nah,
Donald
no
Cerrone. Cerrone was the only guy he knocked out.
The one guy,
that's gonna be a decision.
Plenty more guys than his. You want to go through his UFC record? You can go.
He only knocked out 2 people in his UFC. Wendell
Have you seen how
Oliveira.
dominant his performances have been? Like, even the fight that you have you seen the fight where he actually got a draw?
And I also see what he's saying, Ashtray. But this is the thing.
That was a draw, brother.
This is the thing about it. You don't really hear. You don't hear it from other fighters.
Yeah, he was out. He gassed out that fight. Probably had a bad wake up. But
does anybody have the time that this is? I don't want to play through the.
Hey, I think it's 10:05.
10:05.
Yeah, it's
I would say like you don't hear like fucking. Well, I wouldn't say John Jones, but Daniel Cormier. He's one of the greatest. I mean, there's a lot of great fighters that you haven't necessarily heard come out and say like, yeah, man, whenever I'm fighting, I don't care. I'm not thinking about my kids, my family. Fuck those guys. He didn't say it exactly like that, but I mean, I get it. I get there's a level of selfishness that you need to be a fucking savage, but at the same time, the way he worded it is like, what? You don't give a shit about your family? You just don't hear it worded that way. So it was just poor choice of wording. Let's see if we can.
I just got a new contract and.
But our belt's coming home, baby.
It's a great contract,
coming home.
I looked at it, I said, yeah, that's nice, signed it, and then that was it. I'm waiting on legacy and greatness, so I trust my team.
Is it before or after this part?
100%. I trust my coach, Colin Heron, 100%.
He's answering the question right now.
As long as I do all that work, legacy and greatness, all money will be there. So I don't worry about it. If you can't have worries outside of this game. I've got a girlfriend who's 7 months pregnant.
Oh shit! Hold on, real quick. He said his girlfriend is 7 months pregnant, and that's who was supposedly in the hospital when he had his weight cut issue. They said it was a pregnant girlfriend, and so clearly, he cares, but he's just wording it wrong, because that's actually why they said he had his weight cut issue, because his pregnant girlfriend was having like an emergency. So
I've got a daughter in
that's
Brazil
another
right now.
factor to why I don't believe he's going to ever miss weight for this title fight. Because I mean, he's only missed it once before that point, and then I think this is something he's obviously been able to address. He's actually made championship weight before for a fight he didn't need to make championship weight for. So I don't think for the Woodley fight, especially when he's going to be this motivated, this concentrated on the fight, he's going to ever miss weight. So,
yeah, he also said he's going to come in earlier.
Come in a little lighter, he says.
Yeah, he's going to come in a little lighter, so even if there was a little hiccup, he'd make weight.
I don't really care. I just care about legacy and greatness. That's what I'm in this for. I'm not in this to make money, be a champion and leave. I'm in this for people to say at the end of it, you were the greatest. That's my only mentality. Fuck money and fuck everything else.
Fuck money and fuck everything else. But yeah, Stamina MC said people are losing their shit right now about how Darren Till said what he said. So I get it, whenever people can take the wording wrong, but I mean, I don't look at it like he's, a terrible person for what he had to say. I think it was just kind of misunderstood a little bit and taken out of context. But what he's, there's some truth to that. There's definitely a level of sacrifice. Whenever you're moving to another country for your training camp, all fighters are essentially sacrificing time with their family, away from their family. Mm-hmm. Now, in their head, they're not necessarily saying, like, fuck my kids. They're just saying, I got to do this for a greater purpose. Like you said, he's concerned about his legacy. He's trying to become the champion and become the best fighter in the world. So if he's got to go to fucking Brazil for 9 months to train for his next title fight, he might be there. He might have to, So, yeah, I think it's taken a little out of context. But Stamina, she said people are going crazy. The 22 game said, what did he say wrong? I don't know if that was the exact, right there what he said was, my girlfriend's 7 months pregnant at home. I don't fucking care. So I don't know if that's the exact statement he said that's got people going crazy, but essentially that he's not thinking about his family, or doesn't care about his family while he's training. Go ahead.
I have a daughter and I really don't care.
Yeah, I got a 7 month pregnant girlfriend. I don't care. I've got a daughter. I don't care. So as you're saying, I don't care about anything right now. All I care about is this fight and my legacy. And so people are taking that kind of wrong.
I mean, for me, I'd tell anyone in the chat or anyone who's watching me, maybe he's looking to be a fighter or looking to go into a high level of a sport or high level of anything. Like, you need to have that mentality of, you don't give a shit about anything other than what your craft is in, and you grind to the craft, and you're gonna make sure you do it no matter what. Nothing's gonna get in your way, whether it's family, friends, foes, anything. You're gonna make sure you do it, and that's the mentality he's got, and that's why. I mean, and the thing is, the comments are pretty brutal. And that's someone from London, myself, obviously London, England. Like, I know a lot of guys from Liverpool, and yeah, the sarcasm and their banter can kind of come across like shit. It's kind of like it kind of hits you deep, but that's the way they are, and they'll think like that, and that's how they go about their business, and they're strict to what they mean, and they're strict to what they do, and it's another reason why I see Tor getting this markup. I see it and I believe it, and I conceive it. And no one's gonna tell me to shut the fuck up like Rock.
Is that somebody else's guy? Isn't that my shit?
That's what I heard somebody else saying too, that it has a lot to do with where he's from, and if I knew more about Scoozers or whatever they're called, that I would understand a little bit better. Yeah.
Michael Myers just says hello, hola to you, bro, all the way from Brazil. Keep grinding. You're doing a heck of an MMA coverage job. Underachievers hate hard-working people like you. Appreciate it. Dutch Blackish said right move up. Alexander Selkirk said, why not just go up the middleweight and prove your worth against smaller guys? Why prove your worth against smaller guys? I think as far as why he's fighting the welterweight, I don't think he's going to be there forever. But at the same time, also Darren Till has said he's got plans on clearing out the welterweight division. But he might have champ aspirations. And if you start at 185 and you're a small 185er, it's going to be that much harder to go up to fucking 205 and win another belt. So you might have to start off at the lower weight class, killing yourself, and then gradually move up to middleweight. But he also said, go ahead.
Oh, so not to cut you off, but I mean, let me ask you, do you remind me of the last kind of British, they're not technically British, but the last kind of British fighter who was going to a lot of title, he got to a title fight and looked horrible in weight cuts, was going quite close to missing weight at times, and obviously won a belt and then became a two-belt champion. Was that not Conor McGregor? I mean, we saw how he looked against Mendes, against Aldo at the weigh-ins. He looked horrible, looked like a skeleton, but he got to that lighter weight class, he was able to beat the guys there. And then once he moved up to 155 at his true weight class, we saw what he did to Eddie Alvarez. We saw what he did eventually against Nate Diaz in the second fight. So I mean, there's a lot of potential for him to grow when he gets to 185. But for this division right now, I mean, against Woodley, I think it's a good matchup as well. So he can make the weight, and he'll be able to do it for a few more fights. Yeah.
Two or three. I think three at them. I don't know, 2 or 3. And then he's going up.
You know, Infamous, let me ask you. So, I mean, are you with, do you think Woodley is going to win this fight? And tell me, how do you think he's going to be able to win this fight?
Well, I
mean,
haven't made a pick. I haven't made a pick on this fight yet. Because I still need to
rewatch. For Woodley to win this?
I think Woodley could win.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah, what up, Gary?
What up? That was me trying to call. My bad.
Okay.
What the hell I was...
Right now, yeah, I mean, if my early prediction, man, and it might just be because some of my Darren Till hype personally died a little bit just after the end of the last fight. Now, I still think he's a beast, but I kind of expected more out of the Wonder Boy fight. The way that it ended, it wasn't the most action. A lot of people felt like Wonder Boy won. Now, I was fine with Darren Till even getting the decision because, it's, you know what I'm saying, it's not like Wonder Boy went out there and took the fight, you know, so I still felt like Wonder Boy might have landed more strikes and whatnot, but it just wasn't the most impressive win from Darren Till. On top of missing weight, you know, added to everything. So it's hard for me to give Darren Till. I still feel like he might be a little great. It's hard for me to pick him against the champion, man. I mean, I feel like Tyron Wood just has a slight edge, even if it's slight. Darren Till, I'm not counting Darren Till out like a fucking Nico Montano or Priscilla Cachoeira type situation. I think he's got a real chance, but I just don't think I can give Darren Till the actual edge over Tyron Woodley at this point.
Yeah, I got Woodley by intelligence and experience. I don't know exactly how it'll work out technically, but I just think he's too smart.
He's been fighting at the highest level, fighting the best guys. I mean, Strikeforce, UFC. He's the champion. It's kind of, I mean, Darren Till presents a lot of threats, but how is he going to look? And this is a good way to transition into what he had to say right here. How is Darren Till, even if he makes weight, what's it going to do to his body? This is what he had to say. My fight against Woodley is against my weight, not Woodley. He's told ESPN, I believe, I'm going to make weight even if I have to kill myself and be 10% or 20% worse on fight day. I'm going to make that 170 mark. That's my fight. My fight's not the fight. I don't give a fuck about Tyron Woodley. My fight is the weight. I do not care about him or any other fighter in the division. I just care about making weight. So he said, even if I have to kill myself and be 10% or 20% worse, do you think a 10% or 20% worse Darren Till can beat Tyron Woodley forward?
Absolutely not. I don't think he would be able to beat him at 10%, at 80%, 90%. He needs to be 100% to be able to beat Woodley, 100%. I mean, I agree with you guys. Woodley is an intelligent fighter. You saw that intelligence in both those quotation marks boring fights against Wonderboy and Maya of last year. So, yeah, he does need to be 100%. And again, I think some of his words, you don't need to take them too literally. Because again, I mean, as a guy who knows Scousers, they do say a lot of brash stuff. And like, if they were to look back at it, hindsight, they'd be like, I didn't really mean it like that. Or, okay, that was a bit too much. But he knows that he needs to make sure he gets that weight sorted, and I think that's what his main priority is. But then once he gets that weight sorted, and he's obviously fighting that, he's gonna go into killer mode, and we know what he's like when he gets into that mode, and he's going for the kill. Like, because as he even said against Thompson, I know he wasn't the most impressed by that full time, but he said that obviously post fight against Wonderboy that he knew he had to be a bit more smart. He knew that he was only goading him, that as if he was gonna go for the attack and actually having to obviously be a bit more tactical, make sure he actually got the W. And let's not forget, he was the one still pushing the action. He was the one who still got the knockdown in round 5, and I thought there was no doubt that he won that fight. So
I feel like Woodley did better against Wonderboy than Till did, but no. One thing you said though was that like some of us didn't expect, he came in and fought smart against Wonderboy. Now, if you fight smart against Woodley, like ideally we think that Darren Till is going to be able to pressure Woodley, maybe get his cardio out of him, pressure him against the fence, and you know, really pressure Woodley like his recent opponents haven't been able to, and possibly outlast him. But if he fights smart like he fought against Wonderboy, it's not too smart to get reckless against Woodley. So Woodley, if he needs to, will be able to conserve his energy for the later rounds, fight safe, fight smart. And so what way do you see Darren Till? Like, what strategy do you see him beating Woodley? You think he's going to like pressure him against the fence and maybe open himself up for like an overhand right? Or what? Because Woodley's going to be the better wrestler. Darren Till, you might get the edge in the striking, but Woodley's still dangerous. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, do you guys really see him going for the wrestling much? Because I mean, he had the perfect chance to do it against Wonderboy, who isn't as physically strong as Tilson, and I don't think has as great takedown defense.
He
And
might not.
he got what, maybe two?
I mean,
He maybe went for like
I
4
was
takedowns
wrong.
and only got 2 in both fights. So I don't think he's gonna go for that much against Till, and he's gonna just be doing the same thing, which is backing up against the cage, looking for that blitz where he's got the whole cage to sprint at Till. So I mean, we'll see how
Yeah,
that
if
works
he's
out for him,
backing
but I
up
don't see
against
that
the
working
cage
that
and
well.
looking for that blitz, what do you think would be the smartest strategy for Till? Do you think he should pressure him, or do you think he should kind of fight like Wonderboy and sit on the outside, and it would be kind of like a stalemate?
I mean, if
I
that
mean,
ends up like
looking
another Wonderboy,
Yeah,
and
that would
oh
be
hell no,
crazy.
that
Oh
would be
my
great.
god, you know how crazy that would be if this fight was a snoozer?
I mean, look how
Look.
Rory McDonald beat Woodley. Basically throwing combinations using his jab. If Till could do that, he could
Exactly.
win. But he has to. He's not really a combination type of guy, honestly.
No,
And
that's
he
where you actually
also
win. If you go on-
has to come in
He kind of picks
100%.
his shots.
I mean, that's where I have to go and actually say that you're a bit wrong on that. I mean, if you look at his fight against Bolokovic, look at his fight against Ayari, look at his fight against who's the guy? Olivia. I fought a Brazilian called Wendell Oliveira. I think his name
Wendell
was.
I've seen
Oliveira.
all of
Look at
his
these
fights.
guys. He threw a lot. Yeah, he threw a lot of combinations. And when he got into that front foot and pushed his guys up against the cage and he got them moving back, he'll land those combinations. He's a good blitz fighter. When he gets you hurt, he'll land those shots and he'll finish you with an elbow. He'll finish you with an uppercut. He'll finish you with that left hand he's always looking
Well,
for.
that's the thing.
He's got
Ford.
that ability to do that.
You have to admit this more than anything. He's only had 2 knockouts in the UFC. He has power to hurt people, but he hasn't finished, most of his opponents. He's only
To be
has
fair,
2.
he has toyed with a lot of them. Like against Tayari, he was
Yeah,
toying
I
with
know.
a lot of that fight. With Darby, he was playing with his feet, and that almost did him bad because he got caught with a big shot early in that round, and he was surviving for that entire third round where he got the shit.
But
there,
he
and that's
he
why
fucked his
it ended up being a draw.
and the
still have
Dalby
a lot of
fight, he tore out his
questions.
shoulder,
The
I
only thing is
believe.
I have a lot of
going
questions
into that
about Till
third
still.
round.
Like
Yeah,
I
that
haven't,
too. But he took a
I'm
big
not
shot, which is when
100% sold
Yeah.
on it yet. I still need to see more.
Yeah, and that's another
Well,
thing.
so-
Darren Till is kind of still, at least even though we believe in him and he did beat Wonderboy and whatnot, Tyron Woodley's just way more proven. I mean, he's like so fucking proven. It's almost, and it's not disrespectful all the way. I mean, I think we were a lot more disrespectful with our Henry Cejudo talk. But I'm just saying, as Tyron Woodley being respected, I mean, Darren Till is almost a little green to be taking on someone as experienced as Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley could be the greatest welterweight of all time, and we still have some questions with Till. So it's just hard to pick Darren Till right now, but like, he's still got a chance for sure.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I can understand why you guys are picking him. And maybe if I wasn't so inclined to Till, obviously, maybe I would look at it a little bit differently. But
Yeah.
I haven't watched Till's career. I haven't seen how he's grown. And I haven't seen that Derby fight, which again was a draw. And people look and say, oh, that was a bad performance. No. That was one of his better performances up until he got clipped in that third
Yeah,
round.
it was.
A lot of heart to actually get through that fight. Because he took a beating, and a lot of people wouldn't have been able to survive that. I mean, if you look at Wonderboy, when he took that big shot against Matt Brown, he instantly got finished. He wasn't surviving that fight. So I think, and then obviously maybe and then you look at it, he grew against Woodley where he took that punishment in both fights. He got knocked down, but he was able to survive. And if you look at Woodley's power, I mean, how many people is he really stopping of that power? Not many people. Now, is he really going to be able to outstrike?
Yeah, he's knocked out some people. It hasn't been as of late, but I mean, he's got some pretty brutal
He's got power.
KOs.
He's got more power than Till maybe for one shot, yeah, but he's not got kind of consistent power where he's.
Who do you feel like did better against Wonderboy, Woodley or Till?
It depends which fight.
It was
you look at.
literally
You know what?
almost the same.
I mean, okay, let me look at it like this. I think for me, I think Thompson won the second fight anyways. But I mean, I feel like Woodley deserved to get the belt because he was the champion, and Thompson didn't take the fight away from him.
I thought Woodley won the first one, and
Woodley wrote the
Thompson
book
won
on
the
how to
second
beat
one.
Thompson. Yeah, Woodley kind of wrote the book on how to beat Thompson. So when you beat someone in a similar fashion, it doesn't look as impressive as the person who did it first. But when you look at it, Till did get the knockdown in round 5. He was always the one putting in the pressure. I think they were both pretty similar, so there wasn't one that was more decisively better than the other, if you know what I mean.
I think at least, and it's funny because the first fight was a draw, but I think in the first fight, Woodley definitely was closer to finishing Wonderboy, and I think you could say he won the fight a little more decisively, but it's interesting because that was the draw. But either way, one thing, I mean, Darren Till versus Tyron Woodley is the next pay-per-view. I'm sure we're going to have a lot more panels and time to talk about this, but here's a look at the actual card. It was actually Arpit in the building. Here's a look at the actual UFC 228 card. There's going to be 3 WMMA fights. It's official on the main event. Tatiana Suarez versus Sparza. Jessica Andrade versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Valentina Shevchenko versus Nico Montano. All 3 of those fights are going to be on the pay-per-view. And then Yair Rodriguez beat and Woodley too.
That's
So
going to be amazing.
let me see. What's up? Here's the lineup you can see.
Right now? What are y'all seeing right now on your screen?
Um,
There's two screens on the Hangouts video. It's just like a black with all everybody's logos on the bottom, but you got to watch the YouTube channel to see the
So how do
stream.
I exit? Because I see you right now, and then at
Are you
the
on your
bottom,
phone or something?
yeah, I'm on my
Yeah,
phone.
you.
Oh,
I don't know how to do that on the phone.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
on my
y'all
laptop.
on y'all laptop?
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try to pull it up. I'm still here though, but let me try to pull it up.
okay, but yeah, here's the official UFC 228 actual card. It was announced. Ariel Helwani tweeted this, but you can see it right there. 2 title fights, Woodley
That's
and
a good
Nico
main card.
Montano. And it's interesting, you know. I agree completely. This is a great main card, but I wonder if there's going to be any difference in opinions. We're all fans of WMMA, so there's 3 WMMA fights on this card. They're all great fights, but it's still new. Usually you don't see 3 WMMA fights on a pay-per-view, and so they're all top-ranked fights. Though Valentina's coming to take her title. Jessica Andrade versus Carolina, that's a title eliminator. Carla Esparza versus Tatiana Suarez, that's a fun fight. Former champ versus Tatiana Suarez. I think Tatiana Suarez is going to be fighting for the title sooner rather than later. Couple more wins, but of course you got Yair versus Zabit. So it's going to be
Man,
a
that's
good
somebody
card.
I can't wait to see that fight.
Human helicopters,
That's
a
like
lot of ninja shit.
Man, I can't wait to see that fight, bro. And
one's gonna be
that
doing a front flip, the other
Troll
one's gonna be
Buster
doing
in the
some 12.
building. What's going on?
that Tatiana chick, she coming up too.
Yeah, she's a really good wrestler, man. She was underrated, I think, before our last couple of fights. But Tatiana Suarez is a beast coming up.
Man, I'm waiting on the we were just talking about it the last stream. The Venezuelan vixen.
Oh, Juliana Pena.
Yeah, man, I need her back to the mix so she can start taking stuff up.
But there's other fights on the card as well. That was the pay-per-view, but we also got Aljamain Sterling taking on Cody Stamann, Jimmy Rivera versus John Dodson, Ryan Benoit versus Roberto Sanchez. We got Darren Stewart versus Charles Byrd, Geoff Neal, Frank Camacho, Jim Miller, Alex White. So some fun fights. Again, not the most stacked card. Now I don't think there's even no reason to predict pay-per-views anymore. If there's no fucking Conor, it's a bust. So, you know what I'm saying? Maybe this card does numbers because it's close to a Conor fight, but at this point, I'm not expecting any of these cards to do any good. And this is Woodley. He's not known to be the biggest seller. The only saving grace is maybe Darren Till will have like a little Conor McGregor-like push. You remember Conor McGregor used to sell out arenas like third fight into the UFC and shit like that. So maybe Darren Till can sell a whole lot of pay-per-views or something here. But other than that, man, this doesn't seem like it's going to be too big of a box office success as far as pay-per-views are concerned.
What
There's still a lot of
pay-per-view
great
number would you
fights.
give this fight? Like, what do you think
Is
it
that
would
the
do?
point we've gotten to? If Conor's not fighting, it's just
No, that's clearly where we're at. I mean, after we've seen so
Yeah.
many stacked cards bomb, that's the only thing this means. I mean,
yeah, man. But come on, you guys. Like,
it's
if Conor's not fighting, nothing's gonna sell.
if Conor's not fighting, if there's not some crazy drama or Khabib on the card, I mean, we've seen all the biggest stars fight, and no one's doing numbers not named.
Dude, Conor makes money, man. So,
John Jones and Daniel Cormier did 800,000, and that was remarkable. Now that you're looking at the rest of these numbers, because if you don't have a person that's a crossover star that's making it to fucking Jimmy Kimmel and doing all of this stuff, it's crazy. Because we just saw the most stacked free card, UFC on Fox 30, probably one of the most stacked free cards of the year, and it had the lowest ratings. It wasn't in the middle; it had the lowest. It wasn't in the middle. And you can even tie Conor McGregor to that fucking fight card. So all 4 fighters in the main event and co-main event. He had a history with Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier. He'd fought them both in the past.
And Jose Aldo.
And then he had the who the fuck is that guy with Jeremy Stevens. So on top of Conor McGregor having a history with all 4 of those fighters, you also had former champ Joanna Jędrzejczyk on the card. That card was almost a pay-per-view for free, and it had the lowest of all free cards. So it made no sense. And for that, there's only one thing that can mean. People ain't really tuning in. Us hardcore fans, that's stacked to us, but casual fans don't give a fuck unless there's a big drama show or a big name or something like that. You know, whenever Conor McGregor came through and threw dollies at the bus, I feel like it made a lot of people perk their ears up, like, wait, what's going on in the UFC? You know, and it made people like, all right, I'll watch the fights tomorrow if they didn't already have something to do. But you have to do something to get motherfuckers' attention, it almost feels like, because they're not paying attention, even if the card is stacked. I think I heard my dog Arpit in the building.
Yep. I agree with you. Totally.
Yeah, and all these fighters are getting upset because they're saying it's ruining the sport, but it almost seems like that's what you have to do to sell a fight.
Uh-huh.
But the UFC is trying though to make new stars. That's why, like, even this dude was going for Darren Till.
Yeah.
Like, UFC wants Darren Till to win. UFC wanted Cody to win. UFC wants Adesanya, whatever his name is, like, to win.
Yeah.
Mhm. And it's crazy because then Cody loses, and it's like, well, fuck, we needed that star. Like, damn, what Darren Till could very well lose. Of course, he can win. You know, we're not counting him all the way out, but this is a tough fight. And for fucking Darren Till. Now, one thing that did work in the UFC's fashion is Cejudo won. I mean, you know, he's more of a probably marketable star at flyweight than Demetrius with his willingness to go up. And I think he's bilingual. So, I mean, but yeah, we need bigger stars in the UFC. So you can kind of see why the UFC's trying to make some of them. But other than that, man, it's kind of crazy because no one else is selling. And so I don't know what that's going to mean for the new UFC deal or whatnot. But one thing it probably is going to cut out on is a lot of these fighters, you know, that are like, no, I want to fight on this card, or I want to, you know, try and get the biggest fight possible. It's like, listen, if you're not on Conor's card, it's not happening. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that'll make fighters be less demanding with the cards they're trying to fight on. Because one other thing, I'm still looking forward to see how this Conor McGregor card fills out, because I believe recently, not too long ago, he said he's not really trying to fight on the same pay-per-view as other champions because he feels like he's giving them money. Like, if you fight on a Conor McGregor card, it's Christmas because you're getting pay-per-view shares.
Just being an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
But if there's no chance, yeah, he is. But at the same time, there's gonna be 4 other fights on the card regardless. He's just talking about the champions. But that's where you could try and build up some stars. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if Darren Till wasn't fighting Tyron Woodley, like, it would be a good card for Darren Till to fight on. Or someone just asked to fight on that. Kevin Lee. He wants to fight on the McGregor card. That'd be a good card for Kevin Lee.
Yeah, but he's not a pay-per-view grossing guy, so that's fine.
Yeah, no, they're not looking for other guys that are grossing pay-per-views. Conor's going to sell all the pay-per-views. No one else is selling pay-per-views. So instead of getting other champions on the card who are going to want pay-per-view points, bring in guys that don't get pay-per-view points like Kevin Lee. You're going to get all those people, all the people that want to see Conor McGregor, they're going to get to see Kevin Lee. You ain't got to worry about him getting pay-per-view points, but he's still becoming a bigger star. So the guys that you want to promote, put them on the card instead of other champions that are just looking to be on the Conor card. You know, maybe Sean O'Malley, let him open the joint up. You know, just some of these other fighters coming up that aren't getting pay-per-view points. It'd be a good time to spotlight them. So we got, right now, we might be seeing that. We've only got one other fight official for UFC 229, and that's Sergio Pettis versus Jussier Formiga. And Sergio Pettis is a guy that has a bright future, at least in the flyweight division. He's still young. It's going to be hard for him to get past DJ or Cejudo, but he's still got the Pettis name, and he just beat Benavidez. He's got some potential, so he's going to be on the Conor card, so maybe we might start to see that, though. Kevin Lee.
That's crazy, though, man. That's crazy how styles make fights because, you know what I'm saying, Sergio Pettis beat Joseph Benavidez, but do you think he would have beat Henry Cejudo?
Well, this is the thing. Think about this. Benavidez was out for, I believe, a year and a half. He fought Cejudo back when he was still coming off of that loss to DJ. And arguably, Cejudo was a lesser fighter 2 years ago. So he fought Benavidez. And also, on top of that, a lot of people feel like Cejudo won that fight against Benavidez.
Yeah, he definitely won that fight. I saw that. That was like a robbery.
So,
yeah, I thought Cejudo won that one, too.
I'll tell you this much. I don't think Pettis could beat Cejudo today. If that's what you're asking, that'd be a tough fight.
Dude, he lost him already.
Yeah, they already fought. They did just fight recently. But if they were to rematch, like, let's say Pettis beat Formiga, he's going to be one of the number 1 contenders aside from DJ.
Pettis brothers cannot wrestle, man. They would never be able to wrestle.
and that's crazy because it's like, what's going to happen with Pettis in this division with Cejudo around?
That's not in their DNA, man.
That's their kryptonite, man. As soon as people figured out that Anthony Pettis couldn't wrestle, it was over.
He looked good recently in that win over Michael Chiesa. Anthony Pettis definitely bounced back. But yeah, if of course you got that bad feeling if you put him against a solid wrestler, it'd probably be a bad matchup. But who knows? Maybe he'll put him in like a fucking triangle armbar. What's you guys' favorite fight aside from Woodley 2 versus? Oh, looking at the card, I think I know what it is. But on UFC
Oh, there's only
228,
one answer to this.
yeah, that's what I looked at. I
It's
thought
gotta
about
be
that afterward.
The Beat versus yo, that fight is going to be ridiculous, man.
It's a
I mean, other than
beat.
the fact that it could actually be one-sided, which is kind of crazy to think, but I mean, this is going to be a crazy fight, man. Crazy.
Yeah, that's the only other answer.
My favorite fight.
Woodley said even if
Yair versus.
Go ahead, Arpit. Yair and Zabit.
My favorite fight. Yair versus Zabit.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a common answer.
I'm gonna go for Yair.
said even if Till misses weight.
All right, well, since that's everybody's next favorite fight, yeah, let's do that. Who do y'all got? I just heard of Yair. That's surprising.
Wait, someone said, hold on.
Yeah, who got Yair? It seemed like everybody was going
It
to
was
be going
me.
for Zabit.
Nah, man, I'm a Yair fan. Ever since he fucked up BJ Penn, those fucking kicks. And
old ass BJ Penn. Are you kidding me?
all right, but when he fought Frankie Edgar, like Frankie Edgar fought smart and he won. But you saw as soon as the match ended, that dude didn't want no part of that match anymore because he felt the
destroyed
kicks.
Yair.
Yo, what Webb's PK Bitch just said,
Lumped up all over
what
the
if
place.
Yair beat Zabit after all of this drama? You know, like the hashtag fake news, hashtag real news. Like, what if?
Probably. Wait, what?
Yo, that's crazy.
Man, I'm even
This is
mad.
going to be one of those panels, like right before the fight, we all switch to Yair and it's going to fucking play
No,
out.
not on this one. Not with me, at
Nah,
least. 'Cause I mean,
nah,
let's be real.
everybody's-
Edgar
No,
was just
Zabit
straight
is
wrestling,
crazy.
right? Zabit's probably got better wrestling than Edgar. I'm gonna say it now. I mean, especially with the size factor. You think about his wrestling background. I think Zabit's gonna just be smart. He's gonna play around with him a bit on the feet, go for them takedowns, and then ground and pound him. Like he's not gonna play around with the air on the feet.
I
He's
wasn't
gonna choke
impressed
him
by
out.
Zabit last time, so that's my opinion. I thought the other dude, I don't know who the other dude was, and he lasted all 3 rounds, and then Zabit made a bunch of excuses. I didn't believe any of that. So
Wait, what are you talking about?
Zabit versus the other guy.
Kyle Bosniak?
Yeah.
You're Bosnia.
Yeah, he dominated that fight, man.
You dominated
It was
the
dominant.
broken arm as
That
well.
was a great fight.
Yeah, he said a bunch of excuses. I don't believe any of that. I don't
Still,
believe
MC
that.
said a
but,
couple
like,
callers on here are mad low in
80-something
volume, 4 times louder than
Wait,
everyone by a
you said
large
that was an
margin. I'm
excuse,
not
but
sure how to
there's
adjust that.
literally
Maybe
a
I
video of
can
him
try
breaking
it.
his arm in training just
Dude,
before the fight. He
Yes,
literally
sir.
broke it in the warm-up.
Dominate the fight.
But I don't know. I'm going for Yair. I feel like
No,
Yair's
that's
gonna
fine.
come
You
back.
go for Yair. I just want to hear why. I mean,
Just whoever it is, just turn off the TV. Somebody.
All right, yeah, I'm not sure how to up the volume on the Google Hangout. Hopefully, it's at least audible. But yeah, this is the first time we got the new setup, so that's something we'll keep an eye on.
Whoever. No, somebody using the TV.
What's up?
Somebody using TV and disturbing our talk. Whoever it is, I don't know.
Oh, you're saying someone has a TV on in the background? I hear it a little bit, but that shit usually don't bother me because usually my nieces or nephews or somewhere, someone running around. So I'm not as distracted by background noises, but I hear you.
Yeah, no, what's sounding good? What's sounding good? I just want to hear more about how Yair's gonna beat Zabit. Like, I still want to hear how he's gonna the keys to victory for this fight.
Wrestling. I mean, he's gonna get him on the ground and he's gonna choke him the fuck out.
That's what's going to happen. I want to hear how Yair is gonna somehow beat Zabit.
I thought you were saying the other one.
I'm pretty
Okay.
sure he's working on his wrestling game, but I mean, the dude kicks super hard, man. Like I said, Frankie Edgar did not. As soon as he saw that the guy couldn't continue, he was just like celebrate. He wasn't celebrating the win. He was celebrating that the fucking match was over. The dude, Yair's gonna come in angry because of the fucking thing that happened with them and Dana White. I feel like he needs to prove himself in this match, and I think he's gonna make an example out of Zabit. But obviously, everybody's going for Zabit. I don't know why. Everybody's hyping him up. Like at Desanya, everybody's going for a Desanya, and now, like, I don't know.
This is the thing about Zabit. It's not even just about like the hype from his fights. It's about when you hear about his team and who he trains with. You know, Frankie Edgar and Eddie Alvarez and all of these guys. They come out and say, "No, he's the best guy in the room." You know, so it's like he trains with nothing but killers, and they're coming out saying, "But he's better than all of us." And it's like for these guys to be saying this about Zabit and his team, his coaches are saying it as well. But this is my thing. If that is the case, I don't really understand why they're. Well, maybe it's because it's hard to get him a fight. But Zabit, you know, he hasn't. I'm surprised he's not going for like top 10 guys, top 5 guys, trying to get fast track to the title. If you know what I'm saying. But maybe it's because, like Thiago Santos, people don't want to fight him. Yeah, people say no, so it's hard to get a fight for him.
the obvious reason why more people are favoring Zabit is because he's a more well-rounded fighter. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yair,
mean, just look at the skill set.
yeah.
Also, yeah, Yair looked like, I mean,
Kinda
just
got
after the
got
fight,
exposed.
yeah, I was going to say, it looked
Yeah,
as if he
but-
got exposed. Is that necessarily the case? He's still a beast, but when he fought
mean,
Frankie Edgar, Frankie Edgar did some
Did you guys
significant damage.
forget how his face looked like after the fight?
And by the way, doesn't
Hold up.
Zabit
Okay,
train
fine.
with Frankie? Or it just he not cross train with Frankie? Don't Frankie? Yeah, he trains with Mark Henry and those guys, right?
Exactly.
Frankie Edgar, Marlon Moraes. So Frankie Edgar's also going to be able to give some knowledge to Zabit. Like, yo, I just whooped this guy's ass. Like, do this, do this. So you know what I'm saying? Kind of like Team Alpha Male Cody Garbrandt when he beat Dominic Cruz. They're going to have some knowledge from that last fight with Yair. And not only did Frankie beat Yair, but he's going to have some good shit to tell Yair. You know what I'm saying? Frankie beat Yair, so he's going to be...
worked on his wrestling game, but I mean, I don't know. I'm expecting him to become more well-rounded this time around. I mean, the dude was like undefeated, I think,
before the fight, and he's already gonna have
Yeah,
better
but who would he
wrestling
really
than
beat him
Zabit.
though? I mean, don't get me wrong, yeah, he's a good prospect still, but who would he really beat him to the point where you think he's going to beat someone like Zabit, who, let's be real, so no, we're not talking about Zabit being a title challenger, we're talking about Zabit being a long-reigning champion. That's how much hype's behind the guy. I'm not saying it's all warranted, but there's a reason why I mean, when you got killers saying that this guy's killing us in the gym, that says a lot. That speaks volumes. Because these guys have a lot of pride, but if they're telling you straight up, yo, no, this guy's the real deal. He's whooping us in training. He's taking us to school. That shows you that this guy's the real deal. And, like,
You talk about his work ethic, all type of shit.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's training by himself in the woods and doing some crazy shit. Like,
Yeah, this is one of the matches I want to see. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not just the
definitely a match I
striking.
want to see.
But yeah,
It's not just- it's
it'll
not
be
just the
interesting
grounding,
to
but
see
the
like the
wrestling.
odds.
It's the entire fight IQ. Sorry, just to say that it's not the wrestling, it's the whole fight IQ, the way he's actually patient of the thoughts. When you saw the Brooknet fight, he was taking the piss out of him, like with the spinning techniques. He was tripping and throwing him to the ground when he wanted to. Like, you can see this guy is in control in every fight. So I don't see how Yair is really going to be able to live with that technique and that level of a fighter.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
I
actually
agree.
has a win over Dan Hooker. I'm surprised. I haven't seen.
Yeah, it was early in his career, but yeah, I
Yeah,
was
it was
looking
early.
at that as well. Like, yeah, you know,
He
Yair.
actually has a win over Dan Hooker.
The thing about Yair is he's got great stand up. I mean, if he was just going to remain standing with a lot of these guys, he could beat up. Like, if Zabit decides to keep the fight standing, that's going to be Yair's best chance. But he's more well-rounded, you know, so if he decides to take the fight to the mat, I think he's going to have that in his back pocket to always be able to find success. Like, even if he gets rocked, you see guys get rocked sometime, and then they start wrestling. So even if he gets rocked, he's going to have that extra path to victory, so you got to give him the edge. But, yeah, I mean, Yair could pull off the upset. You know, I don't think he's a fucking 10-1 underdog or nothing crazy, but I just give the edge to Zabit.
I mean, look at that loss. Goddamn.
Yeah, you pull up.
Have you got that picture of you?
Yeah, I'll pull it up. Let me pull it up. Yair Rodriguez.
Remember, like, that fight got started well because I mean, he literally couldn't see it. His right eye was literally like a baseball in there, man. That shit was crazy.
Yeah, and that had a lot to do with people like, damn, Frankie Edgar. You know, they felt like he took his soul almost.
I mean, and the thing that stood out to me was that, like, there was maybe only 4, maybe 5 takedown attempts from Frankie. It didn't take a lot for him to take him down. Like, it seemed like once he got a good takedown attempt in, like, he was going to the floor straight away, and then he didn't get up at all. So I feel like you're gonna need to be able to get up if you're facing someone like Zabit. Yeah, damn, look at that shit, man. That shit's crazy. I think there's even a worse picture of that as well.
Yeah, man.
Oh, look at that one. Damn. I mean, don't let it sway your pick. If you gonna go with Yair,
No,
go
I'm still
ahead.
gonna go for
Yeah,
Yair.
of course.
I'm definitely going for Yair. I want him to win. I want him to be.
That's fine, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm not really.
It's
I don't
almost
about Zabit
like I
because-
like Yair. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see Yair lose. It's just hard to pick him against Zabit. I would love to see Yair win as well, but it is what it is. Somebody's got to lose that night.
The only thing I like about Zabit is just his post-fight interview with Joe Rogan, where he was like, Dana White, Sean Shelby, who's this? And I'm like, I thought that was hilarious. But other than that, I'm like, I don't really care for the dude. I hope he does good. I just hope it's a good match, but I'm going for Yair.
Yo, what'd you think of the DJ and Cejudo fight, 22?
Oh, you guys.
No. I just want to know.
No, could you?
I just want to know your reaction. I had a friend.
I just want to know this. Hold on. Did you think about the panel as soon as the fight was over?
Yeah, dude, I was.
I did.
I was at home because I didn't get the chance to go outside because we were gonna go to Buffalo Wild Wings with some friends. So I got online to see if you guys were on. you guys were talking shit that you were gonna get on, and dude, nah. One of my friends was hating up on DJ. I don't know what happened to everybody who was a fan of DJ, but everybody's now is against him. And
I swear to God, bro, on that real fast, one of my friends, like, I was like, can y'all believe he lost? He was like, man, fuck DJ. I was like, what? God.
What? That's what my friend said. He was like, fuck DJ. I was like, why are you celebrating?
Dude, I didn't even expect anybody to pick Cejudo. That was hilarious.
It's crazy.
No, but like, did you check the scores though? Like, you cannot sit there and be like, yeah, he definitely earned it.
That was close. I had a 2-2 going into the fifth.
If DJ won that fight, I would not have been.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been mad about it. It was 2-2 going into the fifth, and I felt like Cejudo squeaked out the fifth round. Now, usually those do go to the champion, but if you're being honest and who really won the fight, I felt like it was Cejudo. But in order to be the champion, you have to beat the champion, and he didn't get a finish, and it was a close fight. So
I felt DJ won, but you know,
DJ won, yes. DJ won.
Yeah.
See,
I mean, I
give
DJ.
First, third, and fourth round, I give DJ.
okay. What's up, Frank Shamrock in the building? Michael Myers is still in here, live and kicking. Big J MMA says cardio could get Yair the win. If you remember his last fight, Zabit gassed hard in the third round. Okay. More advantages for Yair. Yair's been out for a little while. It'll be interesting to see what he's been doing in the meantime, in between time.
Yeah.
What if he's been out this whole time doing nothing but training his fucking wrestling? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I've seen him doing some boxing training. I haven't seen him.
I mean, like, look at the way you guys were mentioning how he got beat by this guy, Frankie Edgar, because of the wrestling. I knew, I saw that happen. I knew that was a possibility that was going to happen, and Frankie had to do that because he's not going to stand there and strike. But what about Zabit, who wants to like beat the new star?
Here's another thing. If his eye didn't look so bad, do you think that people would look at Yair the same way? Like, people looking at him like chopped liver now, like he's got no chance almost, like he's exposed. Do you think that's partly because of the optics of how bad his eye looked? Or in the fight, I mean, he couldn't really get up.
But in the fight, it was just disappointing seeing him not being able to get up or defend. Like, he wasn't showing any of those skill sets. So it was like...
Yeah.
No, I mean,
he was also close to being finished on a couple of occasions as well. Like, the ground and pound was getting serious, so it wasn't just the fact that it looked bad. It also looked bad from an optic point of view about how he was getting beaten up in the fight. I mean, it was quite dominant as well. And there was probably a couple 10-8 rounds in there.
I was looking on the fight metrics, and for some reason it says Frankie Edgar only scored one takedown throughout the fight. I don't see that, but I thought he scored more. I mean, at least one in each round.
One might have been from a knockdown.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was, a knockdown, and he followed him to the ground. That's probably what it was.
I mean, that goes to show that there wasn't any good takedown defense from Yair. So, I mean, he's got to get that up if he's facing someone like Zabit, because Zabit will eventually go for the takedown. He'll probably strike for a bit at the start, but eventually a takedown will come.
Yeah, I think he's gonna strike, honestly. Zabit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, he could outstrike him. That's the thing. Like, Zabit's that good. He could just outstrike him. But I feel like eventually he's going to be listening to his camp. They're going to be like, you want to take Yair down at some point. And I feel like there's no reason why he wouldn't want to take him down.
He's a cocky guy. I think he's a very
cocky
guy.
I think he's definitely cocky.
But
if he does get in trouble, he will go for that takedown.
Like, physical damage, I don't really care. Like, I didn't really care how he looked like, because everybody's different. Everybody either bruises a lot, they bleed a lot, or they swell up a lot.
Oh, you care about that physical damage.
Well, it's just because some people have that scar tissue, so you can't just go off of looks, just always judge a fight.
I mean, look at Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz gets like murdered every single time he fights. But the problem is with that match is like you only saw that he got exposed, that he had no wrestling game. That's it. That's the only thing that I looked at.
And to be fair, Frankie Edgar could do that to a lot of prospects.
His submissions weren't there either.
I mean, to be fair, Frankie Edgar is one of the best featherweights in the world, and he could probably do that to a lot of prospects. We'll never know how Frankie Edgar would do Zabit because they're teammates, but Frankie Edgar could derail a lot of prospects who aren't fully well-rounded yet. If you're not one of the best in the world, Frankie Edgar's got the potential to Yair you. I mean, now, not Zabit, like I said, because they're teammates, but I don't know about Holden. That's like Kelvin Gastelum. That's like holding the Chris Weidman loss and looking at it like he got exposed. Because Chris Weidman can probably out-wrestle a lot of guys if he gets a hold of them, especially former middleweights. But does that mean Kelvin Gastelum can't beat anybody else? No, he just lost to the best wrestler in the division.
Fair.
And then the other match I was excited to a little bit is like the Justin Gaethje versus what's his name? James Vick or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I think Vick's gonna.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, imagine he
Probably
knocks
gonna
him out or TKOs
Is that
him.
before
Like,
say he
UFC
knocks out
228?
Gaethje.
Oh, it is. That's before UFC 228. That's actually
Vic was
coming up
actually
this next week.
that dude actually surprised me. I
Oh,
didn't think
actually,
he
it's
was
not
gonna
till
be
the
this good.
25th. Damn. There's not another UFC event till the 25th. I think we actually have Bellator before then. But yeah, James Vick versus Justin Gaethje. What do you? I mean, I'm low key leaning toward James Vick. I mean, 9-1 in the UFC
Yeah.
is super impressive. He also impressed me at the. What do you guys think? Did you guys catch him at the press conference? Like I think he schooled Justin Gaethje at the press conference. Justin
Oh,
Gaethje
okay.
held it down, but James
yeah,
Vick was like, "Damn, all
Yeah,
right, James
he was
Vick."
ready for him.
He was ready for everything he had to say. Like, he was like, yeah, I'm not going to fucking... Because Justin Gaethje was talking about money and about how much money he made. Like, that was...
I mean,
James
just
Vick might
listen
have...
to the way they talk. Gaethje's like, "Oh, are you gonna stand there and fight?" Like Vic's the
you won't
smarter,
get knocked
clearly the
the fuck
smarter
out,
guy.
yeah.
Vick was like, yeah, I'm not going to just stand there and take damage, but I'll knock your ass out. It was like, oh, shit. Like,
Come on.
let's go.
Clearly, Gaethje's gonna try to fight the same way he always does.
Yeah.
He's an
It'd be
idiot,
interesting
man.
to see if he tries to
It's
move...
kind of
To
predictable
mix
at
in
this
some
point,
wrestling. It'd be interesting to see if he
You
tried that.
know the matchmaker
Come on,
for the old promotion that Gaethje used to be in was Ali. So he just picked every opponent for Gaethje basically in that old promotion.
What happened? I didn't hear the question. I was reading Forward's message in the chat.
I said like Ali was the matchmaker for the promotion that Gaethje was in before the UFC. So he
Ali?
picked all of Gaethje's fights.
Ali
Yeah.
Abdelaziz?
Mm-hmm.
No fucking way.
I'm so fucking dead at.
He was the matchmaker for World Series? I did not know that. Wow. Manager to the stars. He was also a matchmaker. That's crazy. I mean, because, yeah, before Justin Gaethje came to the UFC, I mean, I didn't know about him. Once he beat Michael Johnson, that's when he bursted onto my radar. I looked up all of his fights. I saw a highlight, and I was like, did he just fucking knock out a guy with one arm? Like, because he fought Nick Newell in the World Series of Fighting.
Yeah.
So I was like, how serious is this guy? But he still beat Michael Johnson, so I took him serious. But, yeah, no, I seen he was the champ over in World Series of Fighting before coming to the UFC. Hopefully he can bounce back, man, because it's going to be crazy if he goes on like a 3 or 4 fight losing streak after winning his debut.
Yeah,
But-
man, just to put this out there, I mean, I don't know if anyone in the chat's really looking maybe to see if Gaethje's actually going to win this fight, if anyone's backing him. But, I mean, let's not forget, he did have Alvarez in a lot of trouble in that fight. He also caused Poirier some trouble
Marcel
at times.
Poirier looked like he was
trying to
almost
get
out of
him
there,
pieced up,
too.
so. True, I mean, the leg kicks are a big factor, and he's definitely going to go for that against Vic, who obviously is in stance and whatnot. So, I don't think he's completely out of it, but it's just Vic's. It's just that thing is, it's just when you're so predictable like that, you're not going to change your way. He's not going to go towards his wrestling. Then I feel like Vic will eventually be able to.
Yeah,
pick
he
him up
did.
and
He did improve a
eventually
little
go
bit
knockout.
more in his last fight, but I don't see how much more he can improve in this upcoming fight. But like you guys said, like he has wrestling background and he never uses it. So I don't know what the fuck his problem is, but I guess he.
But we
like,
know he just wants to be entertaining, so
Yeah, he
that's
likes to
that's his
get
thing.
beat up. So I don't know.
Let him be, man.
James
I mean,
Vick only has
entertaining,
one loss
we all
in his
enjoy his
career. It
fight,
was
so
the
we'll
first
end
round
up watching,
KO to Beneil Dariush. That was back in 2016. Since then, he got 3 wins in 2017. Already picked up a win in 2018. He's been pretty active, man. James Vick, the Texecutioner, is a beast, but we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be a tough fight versus Justin Gaethje. If he wins this fight, I think he'll start getting the respect he deserves as far as he's been calling out some of these bigger names. He's not getting them for whatever reason. Maybe it's a high-risk, low-reward situation. But he's definitely been looking for a higher-ranked opponent. And the only reason he got this one is because he was willing to step up on short notice. You remember, Justin Gaethje was originally supposed to fight Al Iaquinta. Al Iaquinta was like, I'm good. And so James Vick was like, I'm in. You know, you got to be. That's how a lot of these guys, like we see Thiago Santos getting ready to do. He's like, I'm staying ready. You stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
That fight for no reason.
Iaquinta, he's a guy that does what he wants. You know what I'm saying? And fans give him the benefit of the doubt, but he pulls out a fight sometimes. I mean, he kind of called for this fight. It's almost like one of those Amanda Nunes Cyborg situations where he called for the fight. After he got the fight, he's backed out of the fight. And it's like, oh, well, at least he's selling houses, so, I mean, he doesn't need to fight. But it's like, well, why are you really in the UFC, I guess? I don't know. He's a big name, big to the New York market. You know, a lot of people like Al Iaquinta, so he usually gets the benefit of the doubt. But at the same time, he does kind of pick and choose his fights, it seems like, but it's because he can.
I'm surprised he hasn't been
I'm not a
cut
fan of
yet.
Yeah, I'm surprised he doesn't get cut. I know. Like, he spoke out against the UFC.
He talks mad shit to Dana White.
He promotes Project Spearhead as well. Like, there's quite a few things he does that's kind of surprising he's still around. Somebody is echoing like crazy. Now I think they got it fixed. But yeah, on top of that, who did he just now? Kevin Lee called out Al Iaquinta for the rematch at UFC 229. That's a card anybody should want to fight on. McGregor versus Khabib, the biggest card in UFC history. Why would you not want to showcase your skills as a fighter on that card? Kevin
I'd
Lee's
love
like,
to see that rematch.
I would love to see it too, and specifically on that card. Not even just the fact that they're lightweights, and if something happens in the main event, you might get the opportunity to step up. But the fact that it's the biggest card in the world, you should want to be on it to show everyone who you are, build yourself as a fighter. And so I like the call out from Kevin Lee for that card, but you got Al Iaquinta coming out saying, no, I'll fight you anywhere at UFC 230 or higher. It's like, you know he wants to fight on this card. So should Kevin Lee
I don't know if Al
wait?
wants to fight right now.
I don't either. That's why I think he's kind of accepting the fight for any night except for UFC 229, because he knows that's where Kevin Lee wants to fight. Because if you're a lightweight and you're Kevin Lee, and he already said this, if Khabib pulls out or if Conor pulls out, that's the perfect opportunity for you to slide in. Biggest fight of your life, all of a sudden. So Kevin Lee wants to fight on that card. So the fact that Al Iaquinta is saying, I'm not fighting you on that card, is kind of turning down the fight. But at the same time, he's accepting it because he's like, but I will fight you any other time. So weird situation there. But Al Iaquinta, I mean, it's not the first time he's not really, dying for a fight. You know, he's cool, selling. He's got a podcast going now. He's got real estate. So he's not really dying to fight. He's just kind of, rocking around in there like that. So interesting situation there. But I would like to see the rematch. Kevin Lee
He
versus...
didn't really even train for the Diego Sanchez fight.
Yeah.
Admittedly.
And then what's crazy is it's another one of those situations. Like someone said, I'm surprised he's not cut yet. And instead, he's getting a title shot. It's like you would think he's getting close to getting cut. And it's like, actually, you want to fight Khabib for the belt? It's one of those situations.
Right place at the right time.
Yeah, it's like, like Darren Till, he's in the right place at the right time. He's getting a title shot after missing weight. It just seems like another situation where guys might get rewarded kind of for, behavior that you would think the UFC wasn't too fond of, whether it's missing weight or speaking out. I mean, we saw what happened with Leslie Smith. Cajun Johnson just got fed to Islam Makhachev in his hometown, because he's part of Project Spearhead. So Al Iaquinta, he's also down with Project Spearhead, so he got super lucky to get that title fight. But it's like someone said, you kind of get surprised that he's not actually cut sometimes. It's like, man, we're not going to keep giving you this platform. You're talking about us. You're not taking fights.
Yeah, I'm just saying that because, like, you've heard what he said about Dana White. And Dana White, how he reacted to the Brendan Schwab thing. I would have thought Dana White by now would just be like, fuck this kid, and then just cut him. But I don't know why he.
I think he also after the Yair situation, he tempted with the he was joking around, put a little hashtag fake news. It wasn't necessarily on Dana White, but he definitely touched his limit. But I don't know exactly what he said most recently about Dana White you're talking about. But I mean, it probably wouldn't surprise me.
No, he's always talking shit about him. He's always saying that he's not.
Oh yeah, and how I remember now. Like he talked recently, like. Maybe it's time for Dana White to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, he brought that idea up. This is actually the last topic, and it's not even a super news topic. It's just something I saw. We might have a new UFC power couple. It just has a ring to it. It rolls off the tongue. Gadea and Ortega. I mean, on one of Brian Ortega, and they're both dime pieces. You could see this being an MMA power couple, pause. But on one of Brian Ortega's Instagram posts, Claudia Gadea posted, like, I would make a baby with you. And now they're seen at the UFC together, you know what I'm saying? And people are talking about how they got great genes, so who knows? This could be like the motherfucking Beyonce and Jay-Z at MMA. Who knows what's going to happen from this? But we might have a new MMA power couple on our hands. Brian Ortega, Claudia Gadea, former title challenger and future title challenger, maybe champion, who knows? We'll see what happens, but I just found that interesting, Gadea and Ortega. I thought that had, it kind of rolled off the tongue, so... You guys got any thoughts on that, or just a little fun fact?
No thoughts from me other than Ortega might be the luckiest motherfucker that ever lived.
I mean, she's alright.
Not just because of that, but he just has everything. Like, this dude has fucking everything going for him. He's a nice guy. He's obviously an athlete. He's obviously beautiful. Like, I just get jealous. I'll be truthful.
Be brutally honest. Hey man, ain't nothing wrong with being honest. But
shit, total package.
And on top of that, he's got like a fucking fund to help feed the children or something like from impoverished environments or whatever, but he's got the Brian Ortega fund, you know what I'm saying? He's got like,
It looked like from this shit, Gadela was the one who bagged him.
yeah, it does, right? Like she was creeping
She
on
bagged
him.
him up.
Yeah, I would make a baby with you. That's how it started. That's hilarious. Like
With her deep ass voice, she came to him,
yo, chill.
Hey, you're going to be with me.
What's up, Brian? Man, fucking stop. You're gonna get us in trouble on the panel, man. The Mystic panel's gonna get in trouble. Chill. Stay on the MC says if Al doesn't care about that, he can't be forced to. Haha, he's obviously beautiful, says Ashtray. Obviously, I mean, I think he's the only one you can call beautiful and not have to say, like, pause or no homo afterward, because we all know, like, okay, we get it. Ashtray says, Al's coming off of a loss. His only ticket back to the top is Kevin Lee. It's a great fight. Not just the matchup of fans want to see. It's a rematch, but also it's a great card. It's an opportunity from hell. I mean, Conor McGregor Khabib card, you know how many fighters would want to be on that card, would die to be on that fucking card? There's champions that want to be on that card. Number one contenders. So for Al Iaquinta to not want to fight on that card, it really shows you his hand. Like, he don't need shit. If he
he
doesn't
really want to fight then.
it kind of shows you he's not really even looking to promote his career as a fighter. I mean, that's a big good look for your fight career. Yo, fuck fight career. That's a good look for your fucking real estate. That's a good. You know how many houses you're gonna sell after the conversation is you fought on the same card as McGregor and Khabib. Oh, and by the way, before I fought on that card, I fought Khabib. Like, I fought Khabib, then I fought on McGregor Khabib. Yeah, buy a fucking house from me. Like, that would just be great for business. It doesn't matter if you're a fighter or a real estate agent. You're going to get a whole lot of eyes on whatever business venture you got if you fight on that card. So, I mean, there's not many reasons I could see a fighter not wanting to fight on the McGregor Khabib card unless you're Al Iaquinta and you're just like, fuck everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck.
I don't know if this has something to do with it or if it's like out of line to mention it, but I've always thought Al Iaquinta's deal has something to do with his mental health history. And obviously I'm not even like making a joke about it, but I think that he's been open about his mental health, like bipolar depression and stuff before. And so I've always felt like he gets a little bit of leeway because like he deals with some shit.
Okay, yeah, I didn't
know about that at all.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I mean, I thought most of it was maybe to do with the fact that he's obviously close with Matt Serra, so I know that he gets a bit of leeway from that as well. But I mean, if he's got obviously mental issues as well, I mean, I guess that plays a bit of a factor as well.
Damn it, MC says, SMH, I can't with you sometimes full time. What I say, man? What I do this time? No. But yeah, I didn't really, I don't know much about his mental health history, so that could very well be a great point. You know what I'm saying? And I actually kind of explain some of the things, going back and forth. But so, yeah, maybe that has something to do with it, but a lot of fighters don't get that leeway, you know what I'm saying, mental disability or not. But still, I mean, whenever Al Iaquinta does come back, when he chooses to, I'm down. I'm going to be watching the fight. I think we all will be. It is what it is. But who would Kevin Lee fight if not Al Iaquinta? I mean, we got the lightweight rankings up. What would be another fight for him? Maybe Alvarez, you think?
Easy fight with Pettis.
Pettis, yeah, that's a good fight. Where's Pettis at? He should be in these rankings. Okay, number 8. There he is. Pettis, yeah, that'd be a fun fight. A big fight as well, former champ. I'm sure. Why is Kevin Lee still ranked? Oh, I thought that was Edson Barboza right above him. That's Eddie Alvarez. Okay. Kevin Lee ranked number 5. Pettis might be one of the only available names unless Ferguson is healthy. I do know Dana White said something about potentially wanting to book Ferguson on the same card as McGregor and Khabib. So if he's healthy, I don't know about the Kevin Lee Ferguson rematch. I mean, maybe it'd be a good fight, and without the staph infection, who knows what would happen, but I don't know if that's the fight for Ferguson and his immediate comeback. I don't know. There's still a lot to play out. We'll see what happens. But other than that, man, I think it's about time for closing thoughts for the day. You guys got anything else you guys wanted to cover before we get out of here? I mean, we can go down the line, all right, and just give our closing thoughts on any theme, whether it's fucking UFC 227, UFC 228, McGregor versus Khabib, James Vick versus Gaethje. We'll start with my boy, the 22 game. What are your closing thoughts? What's something you want to get off your chest before we get out of here?
The Henry Cejudo shit, man. That's fucked up. That's all I can remember. How are you gonna move the guy's legacy, bro? Like, come on, man. If that dude was like John Jones, Dana White would have been like handing out $20 bills to the judges, and they would have given him the win, a unanimous decision. a split decision, you give the title away to a guy that now even TJ Dillashaw doesn't even want to fight him. He's like, who is this guy? This guy's already asking for a super fight. Come on, man. What a waste.
Okay. All right. Infamous, we'll move to you next. Infamous, what are your closing thoughts? Or anything you want to get off your chest before we get off the panel for the day?
When Claudia comes after you, you do not say no. And
Yeah.
clearly a product of that. That's all I gotta say.
Are you saying Brian Ortega might be part of the Me Too movement himself here? Like he might be the one? All right. Chill.
Yeah.
All right, is that an infamous though?
Yep.
All right, we got my boy giving your name. What do you want to say before we get out of here?
This just popped into my head, but I'm gonna go with how far do you guys think DJ should drop in your pound for pound rankings after that loss?
Damn.
Oh,
Immediately. Damn, that's a good question. And how far should Cejudo go up as well? You know.
he was number 4, man.
All right, let me just say this now. I think DJ should still be ranked ahead of Cejudo. I don't think there should be any disagreements there because it was a split decision, and still DJ has obviously got a lot more in his reputation. I think for me, I probably have him dropped maybe definitely below Dillashaw, probably below Khabib and above Stipe. I have him dropped because it was a split decision, so I don't think it's take too much from his stock, but I think he does deserve to drop just a little bit down the rankings. Maybe
I think that's a good place for now until we can see if he gets his belt back. I mean, maybe even one notch above Woodley, one notch under Dillashaw. I think it's fair to put him right under Dillashaw at this point. Dillashaw was able to retain his title. DJ lost his title, didn't want to fight him. So I think right under Woodley is fine, but they're really close to that 7 or 8 spot. I mean, right under Khabib is fine as well, but I mean, maybe right under Woodley or right under Dillashaw. So I'd have him probably number 7 because.
Probably go under Khabib just for any excuse just to get Khabib up the rankings.
Okay, we got Conor McGregor coming up. His fight's coming up, so forget it. Stipe, yeah, all right. You're thinking like the UFC now. We're talking our rankings. No, all right. Anybody else want to say where they would have Demetrius? How far he would drop? I mean, answer that question.
I know Infamous is gonna definitely now put number 2
Right.
Conor McGregor.
Right now, Cejudo's not even on the top 15. You think he jumps up to at least the top 15? I don't think he passes DJ, but do you think Cejudo, you have to at least put him in the top 15 now?
Yeah, Cody's out the list, not by now.
Oh, yeah, where's Cody? Yep.
Cody needs to replace-
Rose moves up to 14. Cejudo can come up.
I think Cejudo will probably get like maybe 12th, just ahead of Ferguson, and probably just behind Cyborg.
Yep, I think that's a good place.
Whitaker is severely underrated on this list right here. This guy is small for the division. Beat Yoel Romero fucking twice on one leg and one arm. Jacare, like
Brunson before that.
Nothing but killers, and he's small for the division. So in terms of pound for pound, I got Whitaker in the top 5 easy.
I agree with that.
Yeah, Whitaker's definitely underrated. They got him at number 10. I agree with that as well. But yeah, so Cejudo likely moves in. Cody for sure likely moves out. Probably take his spot. But I like what Forward said about right above Tony Ferguson because until he's injured right now, you got Amanda Nunes ducking her taco. Cody's out. So yeah, I like right there. Cejudo comes in. He just beat one of the best, and if he can either win a rematch or beat TJ, he moves that much farther up the pound for pound list. So. With that being said, Forward, I think you are the one left. Your closing thoughts?
Yeah, well, just one thing, look at the rankings. I definitely want to see the likes of Lawler get a fight soon. Definitely want to see someone like Dominic Cruz get a fight soon. But my final thoughts is a different take on the whole DJ situation. For me, I think it's kind of weird to say, but I think this is the best case scenario for him losing on a split decision. Now, let me explain why, because obviously it ends the streak, but it gives him something to like work with. It kind of adds a chip back onto his shoulder. Now he's got someone who beat him. Now he can try and fight, obviously, for the rematch. He's going to be able to actually start going to training. Because, I mean, let's be real. He came into the fight listening to his walking theme was what? The Julie theme? I mean, like, you being straight at me. That guy doesn't really talk to me like he's actually serious for the fight. So I think now he's going to have that bit of a chip on his shoulder. Yeah, I mean, he came through with a Julie theme. Like, come on, like, you're not ready to fight. Coming and listening to that, bro.
I think, well, you know him. He's a gamer, so...
I mean, exactly. I mean, like, you can see even in his interviews, he was passionate, but you can see he cared, but he wasn't that, like, passionate. He wasn't, like, that thrilled. I mean, even when he lost, he's almost like he didn't care as much. But I feel like this will maybe give him something he can train in where, he's going to be able to train a bit more. He's going to be able to, like, give it a bit more.
He's got something to fight for again.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I mean, it also helps the division as well. It also helps, I think, him overall in the division because it gives him like someone else to fight again after a trilogy. Where I actually think I'll probably pick him to win the trilogy fight now, just because I feel like he'll have that bit more to like improve in his game and actually go and get the win. So I think this is more of a positive for him than a negative for him losing this fight.
You know, it'd be crazy if like he actually moves up in weight class and then wants to fight TJ for his title. I'd rather see that, or I'd rather see TJ versus the Brazilian dude. I forgot his name. The guy that,
Right.
yeah, he's been knocking out everybody. So
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it should be Cejudo rematching DJ 100%, and it should also be Dillashaw facing Moraes. I think that's what should happen. And then, I mean, if the stars align, DJ, let's say, wins the trilogy fight against Cejudo, and then goes up to fight, because then it'll create more of a story where he's actually lost the fight, but then he's come back, won the belt, he's come back victorious. Now he's kind of like got the hump back to fight. So now he's gonna be like, you know what, let me go up and fight TJ now. And then maybe he becomes a double champ. So I mean, we saw DC could become a double champ after losing a year ago. We saw Conor become a double champ after losing a year ago. Maybe in a year's time, we're looking at DJ being a double champ as well. So
I think as I just feel with all the pressure of like everything that people were saying to DJ, I think if DJ would have won this fight, he had nowhere else to go but to face TJ. So that would have been a more concrete fight than now, where it's like maybe TJ might face Henry Cejudo, but he's saying basically Henry Cejudo just won the title versus a split decision. So he's also kind of thinking like it doesn't really do much for me, but he might think about it. Like he might go down, but Cejudo wants to go up. So, and if you think about it, you just won the title finally the first time, and you already want to avoid other contenders, and you already want to face somebody else. What is that? So.
Like, you're not deserving of being a double champ if you go out, because then it's like you would have won the belt, but you're not really that legitimate of a double champ. Like, I mean, Conor cleaned out his division before getting to the Aldo fight.
Yeah,
DC obviously proved it.
Well, I mean, actually, he kind of has cleared out the division. I mean, Cejudo, he didn't technically beat Benavidez, but he beat Pettis.
But he technically didn't beat Benavidez.
Yeah, but I mean, Pettis though. Pettis did just beat
didn't.
Benavidez, and Pettis is like the top contender, so he did already beat Pettis. If Pettis beats Formiga, then Cejudo's already got a win over the top contender. And so really the only fight available would either be a rematch with Benavidez coming off of a loss, or the rematch with Johnson.
Or
But
Yep.
yeah,
You know how I
that's a
look at it,
fresh
right? So,
matchup. Oh my
I mean,
god.
but how I look at it, right? McGregor went up. But how I look at it, McGregor went up after beating Aldo in 13 seconds and obviously winning the rematch against Diaz.
Hold on, real
DC
quick.
went up after knocking out. Go on.
What if Cejudo fought Ray Borg and he also mighty barred him? All right, go ahead. I'm just gonna say, what if he also
I don't know.
mighty
Anything
barred
can
him?
happen, man. We're talking about Goat Cejudo here, but my point is, like, we saw McGregor go up after knocking out Aldo in 13 seconds. We saw DC go up after knocking out Volkan in the second round. So, I mean, would Cejudo going up after winning a split decision really sit well with me? I don't think it would, and I doubt it's going to happen. I mean, as much as this is the money fight era, making super fights and all this, I still feel like they're going to give DJ the rematch as long as he's fit and healthy. So I see the rematch happening, and I'm actually going to go against the grain now and pick DJ to win. So hopefully, Given Senning's happy with that pick now.
Yeah.
DJ comes back with a showdown winning that fight, man.
Yeah. As far as the Demetrius Johnson versus TJ Dillashaw fight, I mean, not TJ Dillashaw. As far as Henry Cejudo versus TJ Dillashaw, I agree, man. At first, I was open to it, like, okay, we got a champion now that's willing to go up and fight for the second belt. But it's like, it's not the same opportunity for TJ, because he's not the one that's fighting for a second belt. As to where if he was going down, it was more appealing, because at least he gets to he becomes the champ. But now he's just letting this guy, Henry Cejudo, who just won the belt, come up and fight for his title. But it's not a crazy opportunity for TJ anymore. As to where if he beat Demetrius Johnson, you're beating the pound-for-pound number one fighter on the planet. It's a big legacy fight. Now, Henry Cejudo is not the same thing. So that might have something to do with the reluctance we're seeing from TJ Dillashaw. But with that being said, regardless whether or not Henry Cejudo fights at 135 next, I do think Demetrius Johnson's going to get a rematch. Now, I think it's going to be like a Joanna Jędrzejczyk situation. If you remember, she was given an immediate rematch, but it was not like no one else could fight before her. Like, Rose Namajunas was talking about potentially facing Tisha Torres, but since she was just out for a while until Joanna was ready to come back, she fought Joanna. So Joanna was still guaranteed an immediate rematch, but it was on her terms whenever she was ready to come back. And since Demetrius is not healthy, yeah, we might see Henry Cejudo fight one more time before they fight again, but I still think Demetrius is going to get that rematch when he's healthy. And is he going to win the rematch? It's a very real possibility. I mean, this was a close split decision. At the same time, I don't know if I'm going to be able to appease 22-game war, given Suriname. Cejudo might pull out the third one. You know, I mean, it'd be I would like to see the trilogy for sure.
Yo, did you hear the disrespect by Joe Rogan when he told Danny Cormier how come he doesn't rematch Stipe?
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, right after at the end, because he was like, "Oh, how come Mighty Mouse has the right to like rematch Cejudo, but like why don't you rematch Stipe?" And DC was like, "Well, you know, this dude just won a split decision. That's not the same thing."
Yeah.
And plus, DC knocked out Stipe in the first round. That says a lot.
Joking more than anything.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, people feel for Stipe because he was the heavyweight champ, but let's be honest here. I mean, we ain't gonna throw too big of a pity party for Stipe. I mean, we've seen champions not get immediate rematches, you know, and so Stipe, whenever he can definitely also make his way back to the title. And like they said, like DC said, like a lot of people say, he did get knocked out in the first round. It's a totally different situation to Demetrius Johnson, who it was a close split decision and had 11 title defenses. You know, it wasn't just his record in the flyweight division. It was all UFC champions. He broke Anderson Silva's record. So I definitely agree this is a different conversation. But yeah, man. With that being said, I don't know if I got any other closing thoughts except for make sure you guys check the link in the description. Don't forget, we just opened the full-time MMA store. I mean, get your baby back bagel bite. No, I'm just fucking around. But yeah, I mean, I don't got anything else to say. Do you guys got anything else to say? I mean, we went through closing